Today's gonna be just bad decisions, but there's no wrong choice. So, well, we'll see how we go. I don't think we're gonna be a ragabash. I don't think we're gonna be cunning. I think we're gonna be very rage shit and stuff like that. So, I'm at 3 health, 2 willpower, 0 rage. Great, I'm always angry. So full rage. Your rage is high. So you're in the Inspire Warrior type. That's okay, there's no right path here. Your decisions are... yeah, just decisions and consequences. Yeah, fuck consequences. I'm brave. Forest, the woods are full of star, flicker, they play hide and seek. I hunt. I'm another brave, inspiring, and analytical. So the stars, I hunt the stars, they dance around the tree trunk, I float up on the gusts of wind with that shiver through the branches, disappear among the leaves. I let out a howl of eager to run with them. I want everyone to know I'm there. Then they bunch up and fly towards me like an arrow. Rushing down, they're soon upon me, but just before the spear of light pierces my breast, they disappear in the dark of the night returns. With a high rage, in the darkness, I feel the tangled roots of stories keeping this forest alive, and I finally catch the scent of the enemy. I jump forward, and then I wake up. Oh, they're alone. Reeks of decay, it's hard to breathe. The smell fascinates me. I recognize this forest, or why am I here? The smell fascinates me. Smells, both fascinating and repulsive, is everywhere. Memory stirs deep in my mind, something elusive from my earliest childhood. Tree trunk wrapped in a tightly leaf, ivy covered in ripples of lichen with the vines haven't taken hold. Thorny leafless bushes. One guy raged with a ghoulish, sickly green light. Dark sponge-like mushrooms cling to the fallen trees. I try to read. I'm cold, or something is rotten. I breathe in. Take a deep breath. So I realize it's not the forest that smells so foul. It's me. I shout at the forest. Another brave. I start to scream from the bottom of my lungs, a long, guttural, terrifying roar that no one hears. The screams wake something deep inside my chest, and then I see there's a severed head right in front of me. Yeah, there's a vision. I wince and touch it, or I'm not gonna waste a willpower, so I'm just say, oh, I'm gonna be sick. The enemy! So my name is Maya. With high rage is gonna be rage and panic. So rage! Another brave, another inspiring. With high rage, I throw the head in the direction of the shining eyes and launch myself into the air. My whole body sings with the rush of adrenaline. I descend and I sink my teeth into the neck of a monster that was stupid enough to stand in my way. In a moment of clarity, I almost understand what the forest wants from me, then I wake up. I'm not gonna be friends with Anya. Maya? Maya? Maya, wake up! With a high rage, I jerked upright, irritated, my neck was stiff, and the movement sent a sudden sharp wave of discomfort through my body. I wasn't in the forest anymore, I was in a bus. The sun streaming through the windows was making it hard to see. The girl next to me was touching my shoulder, disturbed. With a high rage, I pushed her away. Or spend a willpower. No, I pushed her away. Anya, cautious. There you go. Cautious from the start. Without a second thought, I pushed her away, adrenaline surging through me. When your rage is high, you may say and do things you may regret later. What's wrong with you? She recoiled, looking hurt and scared. It was like before she said anything. You were singing, I guess, in your sleep. I blinked. The memory of the dream was still there, and the overwhelming smell of the forest. I looked outside. I was glad I wasn't alone. Now I'm gonna look outside. I must have bitten my lip. I thought as I ran my tongue over my teeth, the forest outside the window was watching me. The girl next to me shook her head. Thank God, we're almost there. Her name was Anya. We met a couple of weeks earlier on the orientation day. She was from Norway. Anya is cautious. She was having second thought. We were here to study medicine. Wait, what? No, since she's cautious. Anya reached into her backpack and took out an apple. She turned away from me and bit into the fruit. Instead of sharing, yeah, I remember. I reached into my bag and fished out a bunch of cabanossi, dried meaty sausage that were so much better than the original polish ones back in the UK. Anna's cautious. Anya still looked like she regretted meeting me. People often did actually. Girl, you're a lot to handle, she said after a lengthy silence. I'm not sure if I have the bandwidth for so much drama in my life. This trip was my idea. Our summer language course was starting in a few weeks, and I managed to talk Anya into skipping the tours of concentration camps and old church and visiting Białowieża National Park with me instead. Remind me, why are we here again? Good question. Why were we there? There being Białowieża, a small village in northeast Poland, near the border with Belarus. It was famous for its national park, the very last European bison, and according to a quick web search, occasional tensions between far-right troublemakers and the local Belarusian community. The most honest answer would have been because I've been dreaming about the forest in Białowieża since I can remember, but people didn't understand when I say things like that. I looked her into the eyes. I kept it simple so I wouldn't freak her out, or I told her as much as I could. Okay, I'm not gonna freak her out more than she already is. I'm gonna keep it simple. Family, it's complicated. Okay. That's what I said the other time. I waited for her to respond. Anya fell silent for a moment. Anya cautious, but she still looked like she regretted coming with me. I think we should split up for a while, she said finally. I already have a list of places I want to see. I'll just slow you down. What a nice way to say fuck off. And that was precisely why I needed to do anything about my future, that damn forest and my weird-ass family. I had a clear goal in mind. I wasn't there by mistake. I planned this trip for months with a clear goal in mind. Face the forest, learn the truth of my roots, figure out my destiny. I'm gonna be facing the forest. Goal, mystery, learn about the forest. My dreams, my grandfather's story, the fact my family was from there. There were just too many coincidences. The forest wanted something from me, and it was time to find out what. I never was one to sit idly by as things happened to me. Welcome home, question mark. Anya took her luggage and disappeared as soon as we got off to, leaving me at the deserted bus stop. Anya left. Białowieża looked like an overexposed photo of the village with the contrast turned all the way up. The sun wasn't just shining, it was shouting at the earth and everything. The trees, the grass, the wooden house, the fences seemed weathered. Everything except the shadows. They were sharp as though they were freshly printed with the darkest of ink. And they moved. Now I'm alone. Usually there was supposed to be a picture of Anya with me, but now I'm alone. For a second I thought I could have sworn they moved, but when I realized it was just a black cat, I'm not gonna try to pet the black cat. My rage is high. She's gonna hiss me. Okay, I decide to ignore it. I watch it with suspicion. I'm gonna ignore the cat. Something wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I shrugged and looked around. A friend was supposed to pick me up from the bus stop, but he wasn't there and the cat was still staring at me. For a moment I was tempted to just get out of the sun and worry about my missing friend later. I stormed off because my rage was high. The meeting was just too important. Fuck it, I'm gonna storm off. With high rage, I grabbed my backpack and started walking. I hate when people are late, muttered under my breath. After some time, I heard hurried footsteps behind. Maya, wait! It was Bartek. Late, flustered, and apologetic. It was his dad's company, he explained while catching his breath. He had to help him out with some paperwork. With high rage, I didn't really care, or I'm gonna say I said nothing. Bartek neutral? Of course. I'm not gonna be cautious with Bartek, even though fuck this guy. Late, frustrated, apologetic. It took my time looking at him. It was the first time we met in real life. He was tall, broad shoulders, had freckles all over his face. Come on, I took you to your place. His accent was broad and very Eastern European. I flooded him with questions. Anya would have liked him. I caught him looking at me. I'm gonna say I caught him looking at me. He kept glancing at me out of the corner of his eye. When I caught his gaze, I could swear he looked scared. We walked around the only street in the village, slowly making our way towards the outskirts. The trees were growing denser, their scent becoming richer and more pronounced. I took a deep breath. Gold forest? So, did you find anything linking me to the forest? I asked. Bartek shook his head. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Sorry, he was avoiding my eyes. A trickle of sweat ran down his temple. With high rage, he was lying straight to my face. What's the fuck, man? I threw my arms in the air. You wrote to me a few days ago that you had something, but he just clammed up. You know what? I think you should drop it. I stopped. And, okay, with high rage, that was the final straw. Or I stopped and unleashed all of my charm, and then I feel hurt. Alright, we're gonna play the... I'm gonna play the old man of stupid. I turned to Bartek and looked at him right in the eyes. I put a hand on his chest. I really had no plan after that part, so I panicked and felt a sudden urge to do something unnecessary and over the top. Rage, so I kissed him. I look him deep in the eyes, or I swallow my pride and just ask. Oh no, I'm gonna look him deep in the eyes. I leaned towards him and looked him deep in the eyes. I hope he would see how important it was to me, but he just blanched and jerked back. I didn't give up. Inspiring 3. Tell me what you found, I asked, not giving up. The game tracks your decision on how Maya approaches problems. They will accumulate and gradually reveal what kind of person she is deep in her heart. The story changes to reflect Maya's personality. Well, he brushed his forehead with the back of his hand. I did ask. I started with the old people here. I told him that my friend from the state was looking for her roots and wanted to know about the place her family came from. You know the drill. At first, people were very, receptive. Okay, so she's 24, an American student, 4 brave, 3 inspiring, 1 analytical. Okay, but when we're calm and composed, it's all spiritual and cunning. I see. I waited for the other shoe to drop, and then I mentioned your name. He shook his head. I urged him to continue. I need a moment to calm down. I urged him to continue. Bartek, no dramatic pause, please, I urged him. The tension is killing me. One of the old men told me to go to hell, the other spat on the ground, and his wife crossed herself. And then my old grandmother told me to stop asking. She said something else as well. Like, they knew my grandfather. That's why it's like they don't want to help me. I tensed up. What? I asked. She told me to pray for you. Suddenly, the sweet, golden afternoon wasn't so sweet and golden anymore. Rage, I was furious. That piqued my interest. Or who was I? That piqued my interest. I knew there was something weird and twisted connecting me and my family to the forest. I could feel a shiver run down my spine. We walked in silence, but my mind was in overdrive. People didn't want to talk, and that can only mean one thing. I was on the right track. Alright. People were scared to talk about my family in the forest. Progress goal. My pulse quickened and I tensed up like a hound that smelled blood. I was on the right track. Every time you learn or do something significant that brings you closer to your goal, you regain willpower. I'll try to put my willpower at 1. Białowieża had a few hotels and hostels, but the preferred form of accommodation was bed and breakfast. That's where we stayed. Found one that was nice, clean, and good reviews. Room with the second floor, a huge window, great view of this forest. Dropped off my stuff, freshened up a bit. Bartek said a few hasty goodbyes and disappeared. And Anya was nowhere to be seen either. The day was hot, I was rested, decided to head out. Before you go, check your character sheet, the journal, square, character sheet. It says respectively square or triangle button. If it's you, if you say respectively, the first has to go with the other. Square is journal and triangle is character sheet. But the way the sentence is made is square is character sheet and triangle button is journal. So, family complicated, Bartek neutral. Anya cautious. I had other things in mind. I had a clear goal in mind. The forest was calling me. I was ready to answer the call. Let's go to the forest I dreamed about. It was dark in the woods, dark, humid, and chilly. The winds they let through some of the sunlight. Danielle looked at me over his shoulder. How'd you like her? We've met 20 minutes earlier. Bartek had told me Danielle was the best person to go if I wanted to see the forest. So I found him, and now here we are. I wasn't sure whom he meant. He was a strange one. I'm gonna say I wasn't sure who he meant. Do you mean the forest? I asked. Polish was a strange language that gave the most unexpected gender to object and ideas. I mean Pusha, he gestured around us. The word sounded like the wind rustling in the leaf. Pusha. Pusha is the right word, not forest. Forests are like fields or orchard, cultivated, he spat as he said. And Pusha, she's older than the concept of fields. He was using the word as though it was a name. I stood there and watched the forest. I looked at the Pusha again. I stood there and watched the forest. I look around with fresh eyes. Brave. I felt as though I entered an ancient battleground. Gigantic trees were locked in century-long wars for a place in the sun as trunks of fallen foes decomposed slowly at their feet. Young plants and colorful mushrooms were fighting their own battle over the rotting remains. The trees that still lived stretched toward the sky like columns holding up the vaulted canopy, which blocked out all but a few rays of sunlight. Something moved in the leaves. I fought the urge to chase it. I loved what I saw. It was alien. There was something unsettling about it all. I loved what I saw. Danielle sympathetic. There should be more places like this, I said earnestly, or more of this place. Danielle lifted his head and looked me in the eyes. Yes, you're right, he said with a serious expression. He was a strange guy, slender but muscular, not the CrossFit type. It was more the kind of strength you get from working all day long in the open. His skin was weather-beaten and bronzed by the sun, like tan leather, and he moved in a very deliberate way. His figure was slim and delicate, and his eyes were the strangest shade of yellow-green. Then I remember why I was there. I told him that I dream about the forest. I was cautious when I asked my questions. No, I told him, I'm going to be straight with him. I dreamed of a forest. There's a special reason I'm interested in the forest, I admitted. I'm not from here, I continued, but I think something secret connects me to this place. I dream about the forest a lot. Daniel stopped abruptly and turned to me, watching me for a while, his nostril flare as though he were tasting the air. Daniel's sympathetic. Yes. His face broke into a smile. I think our families might have known each other many winters past. Pusha still remembers. Come on, he started walking. I know exactly what you need to see. That piqued my interest. The forest recognized me. I was right. There was something hidden in my family's past, and it seems to have a lot to do with the forest. With every step I was getting closer to solving the mystery, so I followed him. Wolf's Den, Barrows, or Place of Power. You have to choose a path. There's the old Wolf Den, or I could show you the Barrows first, or a clearing that some folks call a Place of Power. Barrows, ancient graves, buried secret, Wolf's Den, old stories, family divided, or Place of Power, magic, tourist trap. Let's go with the Barrows. Just one small thing. We started walking, but after a few steps he stopped abruptly like he remembered something. Then he turned to me. Could you do me a favor, please? He asked. Why should I? Or it depended, or sure. Yeah, man, sure. What do you need? I smiled. He ran his hand through the moss on the dead tree trunk, smelled his fingers, and then reached into his pocket. He took out a small stone. Too small to be a weapon, something personal, or it was just a stone. I'm gonna ask if it's something personal. Inspiring, 4. It looked like one of those stones you treasure as a child and then grow out of. But he looked at the pebble as though it was still a treasure. I would like you to take this stone, he held his open hand towards me, and throw in the direction you think we should go. And I did what he asked. Okay, reaching for the stone. I took the stone and closed my hand around it. It was just a stone. I was curious, or it felt alive. I was curious. It was warm, and I felt grounded when I squeezed it. I closed my eyes and thought about the Barrows, trying to imagine that place. I thought about the people who buried their loved ones in the middle of the ancient forest and of the body nourishing it. Rage, I threw the stone. Before I do that, I need to remember a little shout out to a new follower, Lilu221127. Is it a date? Looks like somebody put a date of birth of some sort, probably a child. Somebody was born on November 27, 2022. Maybe. Interesting. So, welcome, Lilu. I hope you enjoyed your stay at the Geek Generalist, and feel free to. I always want to know about my new followers. What's your favorite geekdom? If they have a favorite type of genre of music or band, or a favorite movie, a favorite video game, favorite genre of video game, favorite book, stuff like that. We geek about everything here in the Geek Generalist. Everything is fair game. So I threw the stone. With a high rage, I felt my hand rising entirely on his own and then throwing the stone as far as I could. It was a good throw. The stone flew in a long arc over the bushes and disappeared without a trace in the dense undergrowth. Great! I was asking for that, wasn't I? What was the purpose of this? What happened exactly? Or okay. So what was the purpose of this? Pusha, sympathetic. What was that for? I demanded. To introduce you, he answered with a faint smile before he turned to head deeper into the forest. The dead hills. The trail soon disappeared. Sometimes we walk along a barely visible path made by some animals. Sometimes we follow a stream or a gully, but most of our trek we walk through the dense undergrowth. I was, with a high rage, I was getting impatient. The sun was barely noticeable through the dense canopy. I had no idea which direction we were going, and I started to doubt if Daniel did. But it was a pleasant walk. Pusha is sympathetic. It was a pleasant walk. There was always a path through the brambles. The ground was even, and the branch stayed out of our way. I almost felt like the forest wanted us to find the way. Rage high, I stubbornly pushed on, or Daniel was a mystery I decided to solve. Alright, let's solve Daniel. I watched the efficient and deliberate way Daniel moved and tried to guess his background. Why had he become a guide? I asked a few obvious questions, or I tried to guess his background. I'm gonna ask. No point to guessing if he's there, just ask. Where are you from? He asked. I asked the obvious question. From around here, he made a vague gesture. Are you a professional guide? That's what I do for a living. He wasn't very talkative. I tried to guess his background. I drop it for now. No, I'm gonna spend a willpower. Then he hit me. Analytical, +1. Suddenly it all came together and I realized what was so unusual about him. The way he moved. It was so natural, so effortless. No one would spend their childhood sitting all day at school or in front of a screen would move that way. Who are you, Daniel? I asked, bewildered. Were you raised by wolves or what? He looked at me straight in the eyes, his irises a mesmerizing yellow-green, and said, Yes, I was, he said with a poker face. Then he winked. We continue in silence. We've been talking for a while when I noticed that Danielle's steps have become slower. He was also looking around more often and had hunched slightly. Fuck, we were lost. Was it the barrows? Or minus rage? I just enjoyed the moment. You know what? I just enjoyed the moment. I sat down on the fallen tree trunk, looked around and just enjoyed the afternoon. After a moment, Daniel shook his head. They're tricky to find sometimes, he mumbled. Be quiet for a minute, please. That's when I felt it. Ash in my mouth, smell of smoke and wet soil, and a pull. I knew where to go. I think I know where to go, I said, surprised. He tilted his head. Okay, let's check it out. I pointed to the barely visible path to my left under a dying tree. He followed me, and I followed my feet, knowing exactly where they should go. Under the crooked tree, past the dead tree trunk and the sponge-like mushroom, across the patch of wet, dark green moss, all the way to a place that didn't look much different than other parts of the forest, until you noticed the mounds. There was something about the flattened hills that drew my full attention. They must have been bigger in the past, or I couldn't remember or I felt dizzy. They must have been bigger in the past, like why is the soil flat? I could imagine them vividly when they were built, the tall, proud barrows, the dead decomposing on the ground, returning to the earth, feeding all the new life that was growing from them. The tree around us were the fingers of the dead sticking out of the ground. And then it happened. It was a feeling anchored in my chest, akin to the taste of ash in my mouth and the smell of smoke, longing, sadness, resignation. But there was more. A sense of sacredness. It filled me with a calm excitement, and when I closed my eyes, I saw a fire burning in the darkness. Voices. Brave. The village was burning and dead bodies were scattered along the flaming buildings. My hands were dripping with blood. The dying crawled towards me, some in ancient Roman armor, some in rags, some in uniforms from the world wars, some in modern camo. Why? They asked, spitting blood and broken teeth. Why do you keep killing us? That was who I was, or so the forest could live. So the forest could live. They died so the forest could continue living. When I opened my eyes, Daniel was watching me. You were somewhere else, he said. You said you had family here? I nodded. I dodged the questions, or I lied. I nodded. I heard that my father's family came from here, I nodded. I don't know much about them, though. He sighed. I don't think you should be here, he said, tersely. You're not ready. He knew something, or I didn't feel ready. He knew something. Why? What do you know? I wasn't letting it go. About you? Not much, but I know the Pusha. The past is close here. His eyes were worried as he looked at me. And if the Pusha calls to you, it's wise to listen. But it's not wise to get lost in the voices. Come. On the way back, I was lost in my thought. The voices in the vision knew what I had to do. It's almost as though it was expected of me. Was it what the forest wanted for me? Or I discarded the thought? Daniel said that the Pusha has called me. Was the vision showing me what the forest needed? I accepted that thought, or I was scared. I'm gonna say I accepted that thought. Int updated, the forest showed you visions of blood and fire. I smiled. A bigger picture was finally starting to come to light. The Pusha wanted me to fight. The walk back was uneventful. I felt a little tired. The shadows of the enormous trees cooled the sweat of my skin. The taste of ash lingered in my mouth. Let's go to the place of power. A buzzing in my ears. It started with the hair on the back of my hands rising. Balance, rage, the air around me seems brighter, lighter. The leaves and the tree trunks turned yellow and my skin started to prickle. I realized that I couldn't hear anything except for a low buzzing that was filling my ears. I tripped and lost balance for a second, and when I caught myself, everything around me was swaying and dissolving into the buzzing. I had to do something, snap out of it. I screamed, I willed it to stop, or tried to clear my mind. I'm gonna will it to stop. I frowned. Stop, I said under my breath, sternly. And for a moment the buzzing did stop, though I wasn't sure it was because of my words or because I was distracted by a shadow among the trees. A few feet from me there was a clearing. I could see the silhouette of a person moving slowly, deliberately there. I approached. The clearing was a plateau between huge boulders. There were double-trunked trees between the rocks and an angular wooden construction that stuck out of the ground like sore thumb. There was a bike leaning on it. But more importantly, there was a man, and he was moving in the most beautiful, harmonious way I've ever seen. It was hypnotizing. Brave. I couldn't stop looking at the way he moved, the way his muscle danced under his tanned skin. This man knew his body. He knew how to use it. It was his tool, his weapon. The energy that had been filling me earlier took form. It was flowing in rhythm with his steps, with the flow of his hands. The words came out of my mouth seemingly without my knowing. What did he do? What was wrong with this place? I'm gonna go with what did he do? What? What did you do? He smiled. It's a little bit complicated. He stretched his hands towards me. I'm Cornell, he said with a hard German accent. Shouldn't you be on the logging site? Danielle asked him after I introduced myself. I needed to center myself. The others are still here, don't worry. They were cutting down trees in this forest. Center himself here. Okay, let's talk about the logging. Wait, logging? Here? I couldn't believe my ears. He smiled bitterly. Yes, logging, here. That's why I needed to come down. The place is special, Daniel said. Some people call it a place of power, as I told you. And they have good reason to, Cornell added. Look around you. So I looked. It was a clearing filled with light. I could see Cornell traces, a beautiful pattern on the ground. But there was one thing that caught my attention more than anything else. The tower spoiled the serenity of the scene. The boulder around us were strange. Or fruit trees? I mean, the tower would spoil the serenity, but I'm not gonna be mad at an infrastructure just because it's close to the forest. The boulder around us was strange. These rocks, someone brought them here, right? I asked, looking at the boulders, which upon closer inspection formed a circle. The stones were irregular and nestled deep in the ground. People believed this was a place of worship thousands of years ago, hence the fruit trees, the stone circle, and now the tower. And indeed, there's a lot of energy in this place. You felt it, didn't you? Yeah, or it was probably the heat. No, I felt the energy. Cornell neutral. Journal, new entry added. Yeah, I felt it, I said without enthusiasm. The Pusha is wounded and in pain, and it calls out in rage to anyone who can hear it. Here this call is louder. You see the logging, his eyes darken. His slaughter. He looked at the trees for a moment. Every priceless thing can be destroyed by greed. Logging is illegal, of course, but illegal is sometimes just a way of saying a bit more expensive, but still profitable, especially for huge corporation. The forest is hurt. The wound is getting bigger, as is its desperation. Why doesn't anyone know about it? It was wrong, or what did the forest want me to do? I'm gonna be pretending to not know anything, since I learned so much from the Werewolf the Apocalypse game. Why doesn't anyone know about it? Inspiring 5. Cornell sympathetic. I clenched my fist. This should be in the newspaper. People should hear about this. Cornell regarded me for a moment with a faint smile. You have a connection with this forest, don't you? You should come to the logging site and meet everyone. I became suspicious. It sounded good. Maybe he could help me with the dreams. Okay, I'll say maybe he could help me. Cornell friendly! Wow! Just like that. Boom, boom. I looked him over for a moment. Hey, did any of you maybe have strange dreams about the forest before you got here? He looked at me, a look of concern in his eyes. As I said, you seem to be connected with the forest and very sensitive to the things that are happening here. Pay attention to your dreams, especially tonight. This place is known to communicate in that way. He jumped suddenly and looked at the wooden tower and the bike I noticed earlier. Die Schwalbe is getting restless, I said. He said, and as Danielle pointed out, I should be on the logging site setting up the protest. Schwalbe? This is German. What is a Schwalbe? I asked, confused. Oh, he named it his bag. Okay. He named his bike Swallow, Danielle explained. He loves it very much. Oh, I do. Nice greeting you, Maya. All I wanted to do was get out of here. Well, Cornell grinned. The moment it disappeared, the buzzing came back. It wasn't as strong as before, but it was there. All I wanted to do was get out of here. We went on through the greenery. The buzzing in my ears slowly decreased. Let's go to the wolf's den. The old den. The first thing I noticed when we stopped was a pine tree. A pine tree I knew. Balance rage, I remember it. Small, twisted, crooked, growing on the side of the hill, fighting for light and balance, robbed of level ground, it had to make do to adapt. Months before that, when I decided to come to Poland, I dreamed of that tree. I was sure of it, just like I was sure that under its root I would find a burrow, and a few feet away another one, like two dark eyes gazing at me as I approached. Danielle passed me and approached the tree. He pressed his cheek against the trunk. Hello, he said quietly. I said nothing. Was there someone else there, or hello again? I'm gonna ask, was there someone else there? Hello? I repeated just in case, but it seems like we were the only person there. This is the den, announced Danielle. It's an abandoned, of course, but it's still worth seeing. Why was it abandoned? It didn't look very impressive. Let's go with why was he abandoned. What happened, I asked. Humans happened, Danielle sighed. He sat under the tree, leaning his back against it. It was a hot spring morning when they found this den. No one knows who the men were, even though it was only one human generation ago. There were 6 cubs under the roots of this tree. He stopped stuttering and seems to enjoy telling the story. I enjoyed listening. I enjoyed listening to it. There was something calming in his voice, and the way he talked, his slow gesture and wistful eyes, made me feel as though I was with the cub on that hot spring morning. I don't think they wanted to hurt the wolves, he continued. They probably just thought they'd been abandoned. That's why they took the cubs with them. Humans have this instinct that makes you try to befriend everything, especially if it's dangerous. Not befriend, enslave, rage up, I didn't disagree. Or, yeah, we were like that. But now my rage is getting lower. I have to remedy it. Yeah, we are something like that, aren't we? I smiled. I'm not saying it always works out, but the intention is good, and I believe the man who kidnapped the wolves wanted to do something kind, he continued. Anyway, they took him. Out of the 6, 2 lived to see the cold summer that year. The wolf mother used to come to the farm where they were and howl. People went gray if they heard her. I know that howl. And suddenly I heard that howl. I knew exactly how it sounded. I felt despair and longing gnawing at my soul. I remember how the cubs had reacted. They snarled at people, they whimpered from their mother to leave, or they were silent. Low rage, they were silent? They snarl at people, analytical. Every time she came, we remembered what had been done to us. We snarled at our capture, knowing they deserved it all. Deserving to go gray. Deserved to die for keeping us enslaved there. I realized that Daniel was silent. I met his gaze. Do you feel alright? Are you sad? Don't be. It's not all sad. It was nothing. I like how he told the story or I felt for the cubs. I'm gonna say I felt for the cubs. I just feel for the cubs. I knew a little about divided families myself. Oh. Yeah, that usually ended the conversation. Daniel sighed, looking at the tree in the burrow. The cubs that survived were sold to some people in Ajnoshka. But after a while, both of them ended up back in Białowieża with the scientists. They have a station in the national park. One of the wolves, Kazan, was a celebrity of sort. If you saw any wolf photo from here, they were probably of Kazan. It was even on postcards. They shouldn't have moved the cubs. I kept thinking about the mother. In the end, the smartest cubs survived. They shouldn't have moved the cubs. Daniel neutral. Oh, the men should have left the cubs where they belong, I said, exasperated. Why did they interfere? They wanted to be kind, Daniel repeated. You can't condemn kindness. There was a slight gust of wind and the tree creaked. I remember that sound from my dream as well. A sound that made me feel safe. How often has he shared that story? I look at the empty den. Will the wolves come back here? I look at the empty den. Daniel frowned. No. No, they won't. This place is cursed for them. We fell silent. We looked at the barrels for a long time. This place is my friend's, so I tried to keep it important and respected. I think this is my mission, you know. I could relate to that. This guy was super weird. I want to say I could relate. Gold forest. I think I understand. The forest has a way of sending people on mission. Daniel looked at the tree one last time. Goodbye, he said. I also said my goodbye. Swisha friendly. Goodbye, I repeated, and we left. Yeah, we have to talk to the forest. We made our way back to town. First evening. The B&B was quaint. Anya was sitting on her bed, drinking tea. So, what did you see? She asked. Oh, I went to the forest, of course. I said. I meant, it's the most important thing here, isn't it? I made a quick mental inventory of everything that happened that day. They were cutting down the forest, places of power showed me an impression. Daniel was a strange guy. I was moved by the story of the wolves. I was freaked out by the vision of the barrel. Like I said, they were cutting down the forest! I can't believe they're logging here, shook my head. Isn't the forest on the UNESCO list or something? Yeah, no, an international protest going on. I was there all day. You can come with me tomorrow if you want. Play for power, made an impression. Okay, Daniel was a strange guy. There was something strange about the forest guy. I tried to put my finger on it. He acted like he learned how to be a human from a book he didn't understand. Hey, I think I heard about him today. Daniel, right? It seems he's the best guide out there. I was moved by the story of the wolves. I was told a story about the wolf cubs that were kidnapped and died in captivity, I sighed. It stayed with me, you know. It's awful what we do to animals, she nodded. Place of power sure made an impression. I went to this place of power and I felt a strange energy there. And there was this guy who really understood what I was going through. Ooh, she looked excited. Mysterious energy in an ancient forest, so very magical, she laughed. I was freaking out about the visions of the barrows. Something strange happened when I was visiting the old barrows, I said, and instantly regretted it. Never mind, I was probably just dehydrated. The heat, right? It's awful, she shuddered. I couldn't feel it, okay? You know what? I'm seriously tired. Let's call it a day, shall we? Soon we were both in our beds, ready to sleep. Low rage. Even though I was tired, sleep didn't come quickly. Anxiety was spreading its cold, riding roots deep in my chest and stomach. I lay there for some time, looking at the silver rectangle painted on the wall by the moonlight. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the tangled branches, the stone Daniel asked me to throw, the leaves. I came in with one question, and now I have many. I felt I was getting closer to getting my answers. I should go and see the logging protest. Okay, my willpower. I don't. This is where I was supposed to gain willpower, but since I'm already full, they don't give me anything. After a long while, these thoughts became blurry. They slowly started to turn into pictures, sound, and color, and then I went to sleep. I drifted off. Rage low. In a big city, old man sits in leather chairs, lazily enjoying their ever-growing wealth. They watch Bella Louisa flickering screen. Okay, I am a cub. I am a wolf cub, like the ones my grandfather told me about. I will grow and my fangs will become sharper. Sharper, I will taste blood. I feel a pull and I surrender to it. I will run toward a clearing. Piles of fresh corpses of people who died too young, skinned and mutilated. Their loved ones stand around them, grieving, unable to do anything, waiting, and suddenly they are just trees and trunks. I look around. Analytical 4. My nostrils flare. Who did this? Who murdered the trees? There is a stench in the air, like meat rotting in acid, but somehow worse. I see the monstrous army. Their mandibles are whirling chainsaws. Their long metal arms are wrapped with black pipe that look like glistening intestines. The smell is vile. They wait, unmoving. I charge at them! I try to breathe through my mouth as I run towards the machine. I hit and kick them blindly, screaming at the top of my lungs. In my own scream, I hear strange whispers. They tell me to look at the sky. There, between the stars, two shapes circles each other. An old sad wolf with gray hair and a white weasel. They keep their eyes on me and on one another. They keep their eyes on one another and they continue their dance, suspicious but not hostile. We need to fight the enemy. The awful rotting stench, I know that much. But how can we do that when we don't trust each other? They stop, they look at me at the clearing. Balanced? I look at them cautious, or inspiring, I sing to them. Yeah, I'm gonna use my inspiring. I'm gonna spend the willpower. I sing to them. Pusha, loyal. I sing to them in words that I don't recognize, but that I understand. They come down to me, and their voice is the voice of the Pusha. We've been calling you, and you finally came, and I wake up. Chapter 2, Logging. The day after. The next morning was full of sunshine and birdsong. I could smell the heat of the afternoon building, those long, honey-like hours in late June, when the earth isn't tired of his own warmth yet, but it was crisp and pleasant now. I got up. I sat on my bed for a moment, letting my feet dangle from it. Balance rage. I wasn't sure how I felt. The weight of the previous day had coiled up somewhere in my chest, and I felt like a tiny merry-go-round gaining speed. Then there was a dream. I remember the dream, the clearing, the animals in the night sky waiting for me. I took a shower, ate something without really paying attention, and went out. Anya stayed behind. It's okay. I was halfway through the forest, then I realized I was walking toward the logging site. Protest, activities, answers. I was running all the options over and over in my head. I didn't care where I was going. When I looked up, the sun was shining, the village was far behind me, and I was at the logging site. This is the balance rage. No more stalling, it was time to set my plan in motion. So what exactly was my plan? I had to figure out the forest, I need to find someone, I need to stop the logging. I need to find someone. There's someone I had to find and press for answer. Cornell, because this is the person I only know. I need to talk to Cornell, the guy from the place of power. He seemed to know a lot about the forest's hidden secrets. I looked around. Inspiring. I looked around. On my right was the ancient forest. On my left was a freshly torn clearing. Ahead of me, ruining the view, were a huge logging machine and a group of people arguing in their shadow. They clearly needed someone to gently nudge them in the right direction. I look at the clearing, I look at the machine, I look at everyone. I'm going to look at the clearing. The trees they cut down lay in the middle, thrown together, lifeless, limp, just like in the dream. Surrounding them were the harvester that killed them, and people who squabbled over their corpses, the protester, the reporters, the police, and of course the loggers. The harvesters loom over the clearing, reeking. I saw a familiar face among the protesters. Cornell was arguing with a woman with great dreadlocks. That was probably Olga. The protesters were really conflicted. I wanted to know what it was all about. Maybe I could solve the conflict. They clearly needed some advice. I want to know what it's all about. I'm a new guy. I'm not going to tell them what to do. Inspiring 246. Curious about the reason for it all. I approached a protester. One of the police officer, young and nervous, said something I didn't fully understand. I ignored him. I smiled. Or balance rage, I shrugged. Police cautious. I don't understand. Me no speak German. Oh, he said, you're one of them, and then he let me go. Then I noticed I wasn't alone. I'm gonna take a drink. My water should be cold now. I'm gonna take my vitamins. Okay, so... Oops. No. Don't fall. No, don't... Okay. And then I noticed that someone used the commotion to sneak with me past the police. A girl with disheveled, bleached-out hair. Don't worry, she patted the officer on the arm. It was an awful pickup line anyway. He recoiled. You shouldn't touch me, ma'am. I rolled my eyes and I smiled. Okay, so that was a pickup line. Okay, so I smiled. That was Pat. I smiled at her and wanted to say something, but I was interrupted. Pat, Cornell called from her gallery. Could you call me in? I need you to show Olga that chart. She sighed, reaching to her backpack and taking out a tablet. And they're at it again, she murmured under her breath and winked at me. Coming! I went toward the activist. As I walked toward Cornell, I heard more and more of the argument. Olga, you can't, Cornell was saying. Pat stood next to him with her tablet. She looked a bit amused. Do not fucking tell me what I can or can't do, Cornell, the woman with dreadlocks interrupted. I can because they're destroying our mother. I can fight with all the means at my disposal, even if it means burning those harvesters to the ground. I noticed Danielle standing near her. He took a few steps back, went toward one of the harvesters, turned back on all of us, and pissed on the machine. Olga smirked. Ah, Danielle, you know how to bring the point home. He looked at her confused. Cornell raised his eyebrows. Burn the harvesters, Cornell asked calmly. In this drought? Olga, are you out of your mind? You know what I mean. We fight them any way we can because this is a fucking war, she spat. He sighed. You've never seen war and it shows. Nobody is shooting at us. And believe me, we want it to stay that way. We need peaceful protest. I approached Cornell. Hi, we need to talk, I said, approaching Cornell. Hello, Maya. Could you wait? I'm right in the middle of something here. In the middle of something? Normally I would wait for him to finish, but it was important. I looked at them. I looked at them both, Olga with her fury and passion, Cornell with his cool professional demeanor, and shared without any reservation what I felt about the situation. Peaceful, wasn't flashy enough. There was a fine line to tread. This isn't about personal victory. Balance rate, there was a fine line to tread. And then let's go, +5, Olga cautious, Cornell loyal, Daniel cautious. Oh, okay. So, I seem to be sucking Cornell's dick without me knowing. Okay. There's a fine line to tread, I said in the silence. You don't want the protesters to be painted as terrorists, and you don't want them to be treated as irrelevant and ignored. I only inflame the situation, of course. You try to be level-headed, but when both are extreme, they both see you as an asshole. The argument attracted more and more people. Someone old shook their heads and moved forward. They have deep wrinkles, a narrow mouth, and the unisex grace of a tired, heroin-preserved rockman. This is Kim. I totally dug their style. They looked out of place. No, I dug their style. They had shoulder-length disheveled hair, clean shaved eyes, eyelid with eyeliner, bright blue nails, heavy army boots, red skirt, tank top, lots of pin, LGBTQA plus flags, anarchist and pacifist symbols, German band stripes. Yeah, this is Kim. Olga, darling, you know I love you, but Cornell really knows what he's doing. Please trust me on this one. They talked to Olga, but he kept glancing at me as if to check how I reacted. Fuck off, Kim! You didn't even trust me enough to come here on your own when I asked you to. There was a woman at Olga's side. That's probably, fuck, Lisa. Yeah, the most beautiful person I ever seen. Yeah, Lisa. I couldn't tear my eyes off her. I couldn't help but over here. I couldn't get my eyes off her. Perfect hourglass figure, long braids, and the most stunning cheekbones. Her eyes slightly slanted. Weird shade of blue, deep, almost purple. She has a peculiar accent. Yeah, Lisa started already cautious to me. Kim, you want to teach me about violence? She looked them straight in the eye. About fighting oppression, and because your boss went to what? One mission in Afghanistan? Her Polish was peculiar kind of mellow. Cornell wins. Lisa, leave Kim alone. He didn't know what to say, and it seems like the whole discussion will be derailed. Maybe it was for the best. I didn't let that happen. I'm not gonna derail it. Olga neutral. Hey guys, the forest, the logging, the protest. Olga unclenched her fist. Cornell looked up back at her and chuckled softly. You almost punched me! The conversation was over, at least for the time being. Cornell, together with his cronies, walked towards the reporter while Olga went back to the group of people standing in the shadow of an oak tree. Look at the forest. Pusha is loyal. I look at the Pusha. The clearing full of the felled trees was like a gaping, bleeding wound in the chest of a friend. I had to do something. Rage up. Stop the logging. I felt righteous rage rising in my chest. I have to stop the logging, but it wasn't something that I could do on my own. I looked at one group. I looked at the other. The harvesters and the protesters. The harvesters were dripping with black oil, and the forest stood tall, serene, and full of golden light. It looked like it could protect itself. Then I looked at the felled trees, dead limb helpless. Olga, escalation, or Cornell answers. I'm gonna go look at the protesters. I'm gonna go full Cornell. I'm in the back. Like, they're interviewing Cornell, and I'm looking at the back like, what's going on? Cornell owed me some explanation. Hey, wait for me, I shot and ran after him. Hello, Maya, I see you haven't come alone. He reached out his hand. Hi, he acted like a dick arguing at Olga. I told him about my dream, or I shook it. I'm not gonna answer the irate answer. You acted like a dick arguing with Olga. No, I'm not gonna be that. Told about my dream. I pay attention to my dreams, just like you said I should, I told him. And I dreamed about this. I gestured at the felled trees. He leaned towards me in a hushed voice, said, You must tell me about it. His eyes were an uncanny shade of gray. Damn, he looked tough. Yeah, this is the only answer for high rage. Damn, you look like a tough guy, I blurted out, impressed. He was in that bad boy hipster military way. I know, he said without skipping a beat. Cornell looked me in the eyes. I know what you dreamed about. When the forest is under attack, it reaches out and picks someone. This time it picked you. He seems to believe it. The Pusha has reached to me because she was in danger. I looked at him skeptical, but he seems to believe it. Corval is loyal. We have the same goal. He looked back at me. Will you help me? I have no time to answer. Before I could answer, I heard a commotion and turned around. The reporters were coming our way, but their cameras were switched off and pointed at the ground. They should have been filming. I saw an opportunity to shine, or why aren't they filming? Okay, I'm gonna be rage high. They should have been filming! Brave 5, Cornell friendly. You should be filming, I snapped at them. The protest was important, even I knew that, and they just didn't care. Easy there, Cornell put his hand on my shoulder. The reporter shook his head and grimaced. Sorry everyone, we can't do anything. We're not allowed to cover what's going on here. What did they mean? Sorry. Suddenly I understood. Press sympathetic. It hit me. The police weren't there to protect the protester or the press. Yeah, it must be hard to do your job when the police is watching your every step, I said and nodded. There was a moment of tense silence. And then it all came together. Suddenly I understood the dream. That was the moment I was destined to intervene. The protest was too quiet, they needed inspiration. I just had to make the reporters understand, or I could still use the reporters. If okay, let's see what can we do. How can we use the reporters without them having to shoot the protesters? Because that's gonna escalate things, and the police aren't there to protect everyone. How can we use the reporters? Keep talking. I look at the protesters. Their frustrations was getting to me. They didn't have any real plan. They were as lost as I was. They didn't have any real plan. They were a ragtag bunch thrown together by circumstance without a real plan or clear purpose. I looked around, put my hand in my pockets, and wandered towards the journalists. They were such cowards, they just needed a little nudge. The cops were scared. They needed a little nudge. Inspiring. I've always wanted to be a journalist, you know, I said to the nearest one. The fourth pillar of democracy and all that. But maybe things work differently here in Poland? He looked at me with tired eyes. I winked. He smiled. Unspectacular as it was, I managed to connect. And I acted on it. I'm gonna spend a willpower. Does it always look like this? I ask. I mean, is it an everyday situation that you can't report? No, answered one of them. He wasn't tall, in his 30s. There were a few glances towards him and almost a flash of warning, but it was too late. Why weren't they filming? Why were they in Bielorussia at all? Okay, I'm going to spend another willpower. Press neutral. Why are you here at all? I asked, and then it hit me. You were sent here to find some dirt on the activists to get something that would compromise the protest. They looked at one another, suddenly unsure what to say. Then I heard shot at Olga. The protester clashed with the police, and the cameramen grabbed their gear and went toward the actions. Remember, we want the aggressive one, shouted one of the reporters. I could see the logo of the national TV station on his camera. Oh, they wanted to film the bad elements. They wanted for something hot to happen before. And now when Olga clashed with the police, the reporter were like, oh, we got something. Soon we were alone. Cornell sympathetic. Fuck, Cornell swore and threw his thermal cup at the ground. It bounced, spilling hot coffee everywhere. Someone grabbed me by the shoulder. I turned around and saw Kim. This is when you exit the scene. They turned me around and gently but firmly pushed me away. We'll be in touch, they whispered. The ugly truth. High rage. When I was on the road on the village and nobody could see me, I stopped and screamed. A startled flock of birds took off from the trees nearby and filled the air with feathers and movement. I was alone, or so I thought. Press is neutral. Oh. Yeah, this is Erica. Erica is here. I kind of blew it with the press, but... Are you alright? A voice behind me said, and I jumped. A woman was walking towards me. I said nothing. I was fine, though it was too much. I said nothing. Angry, I straightened up and said nothing. My throat still sore. We walked slowly towards the village. We talked. Lurch was an independent German reporter. Why are you protesting the logging? She asked him a few minutes of small talk. It was my civic duty, I rage. Civic duty! I haven't been here for long, I answer angrily, but I've already learned that Poland is ruled by a right-wing party who are total climate catastrophe denialists. I feel Polish and I have the right to protest. I looked at her. Why are you asking? She looked at me with renewed interest. Do you know why they are cutting down the trees? She asked back. Because you do know that logging is one done by a government company in the state forest. The fuckers! I growled. Politicians are tainted. I hated politicians. They say we take off and nuke them from orbit. Pretty radical, but that would destroy the forest. Reach for a notebook. It all started with spruce, bark beetle. Yeah, that shit with the bark beetle. Yeah, I remember. Was cutting down trees necessary? The foresters say that it's the only way. Some biologists argue that they're cutting the wrong trees and doing it too late to change anything. Is the logging legal? Opinions differ, but massive logging in the use code is good. That's when the ocean there's a drought and nowhere is sure the forest will survive on its own. Rage it was infuriating. Why couldn't she just answer my questions? I tried to understand her point of view with lower willpower. No, high rage. Whose side was she on? Pressed, cautious. Whose side are you on anyway? I asked in a loud voice. I'm just doing my job, Erica shrugged. I describe all aspects of the situation to you, but it's up to you to decide what you want to do. How convenient. She was putting herself in such a convenient position. Unfortunately, I just couldn't pretend that it wasn't my business. At least, I was sure that they were cutting down the trees and the Pusha needed my help. High rage, I didn't have to explain myself, but inspiring. Who controlled the narrative? Inspiring? Who controls the narrative about the logging? I asked Erica. All the public media explain why is it necessary and legal, she answered. And that's why I want to help the protester. They need to be heard. Okay, so inspiring, overpowered, brave. You're not the only one feeling helpless, she sighed, but anger makes you see things in black and white, and the truth is always more nuanced than that. I didn't want to listen, so what was right and what was wrong, or I said nothing. I'm gonna ask what was right, what was wrong. What should I do when I feel that something is wrong? I asked, exasperated. Do you believe that people can be evil? She asked back. Do you believe that people can be evil? Some people are bad. We could do bad things for sure. Some people are evil. Some are for sure, I shrugged. But isn't that too easy an explanation? I said nothing. What's the matter? She asked. I told her about my anger. I admitted my helplessness. I'm gonna... High rage! I'm so fucking angry at what I saw. I took a deep breath. Then I remember what Cornell had said. All that mystical stuff. And they said that the forest needs my help. I shook my head. It's a lot to take in, and there was a foul smell back there. She looked at me with a weird expression. What smell? The smell was... high rage. The smell was not the point. Of all the things I told you, you asked about a smell? I huffed. I'm trying to understand what's going on here. Press is cautious. She looked at me with a strange expression on her face, as though she wanted to say something and then she thought better of it. She looked hurt. Press unfriendly. Oh, I thought she'd been hurt by my outburst. You learn in your own time if you stay here long enough, she said. Clearly wanted to drop the topic. What did she mean? No, I'm not going to let it go. What did she mean? What do you mean? I asked, getting irritated. I just told you, you'll learn in time, or not at all, which would frankly be better. Anyway, gotta run. As I watched her leave, I thought that whatever connected me to the forest has surely manifested itself that day. I guess I'd made some progress. I decided to help the forest. I jumped right into the middle of a very tense situation and at the very least upset the status quo. I just hope that I haven't made things worse. I walked on in silence. Time to regroup. When I came back, Anya wasn't there. I spent a few... It says Anya wasn't there, but she's on the picture. Anya wasn't there. I spent a few minutes in blessed solitude trying to put everything together before she came. When she did, she looked at me curiously. Okay, now she came. How was your day? I had a chat with the reporters. I grinned, and I learned a thing or two. Anya frowned. I heard that you can't trust them. I never said I did. I winked. I learned a lot. Did you know that the government supported the logging even when it was illegal? I shared my dismay. Anya just nodded solemnly. Yeah, I've read about it. Why didn't you tell me? Well, you have a lot going on, she shrugged. I met a lot of new people. I met some very interesting people, I said, still excited. Activists usually are interested, she nodded indifferently. They sure are passionate. They argue between themselves more than they argue with the loggers, I added. That's all I wanted to share. I shrugged. Just another day in Białowieża. We sat down for a while in silence. There are other villages in the forest, very interesting one, Anya said from over their travel guide. Porgelzelj, Buddy, Termiski, Shalonka. While you were protesting, I visited an open-air museum and saw the bison. You should see more of the area. High rage, I didn't care. I couldn't see everything. It would be great if I could see everything, but I can't, I shrugged. I want to focus on the logging, even if I'm missing something else. And how's the search of your roots going? Anya couldn't stay silent for long. I share what I learned. Something I want to discuss. I share what I learned. Anya neutral. Oh. They say that when the forest is in need, it reaches out to people, I said. And for some reason this time, it reached out to me. Wow, Anya looked impressed. But you know it's a metaphor? That ended the conversation. I was tired. I just sat there, looking through the window. The day's been full on and I was exhausted. I didn't notice when I fell asleep. I can do anything! It's quiet now, yet I know deep down inside that something isn't right. I run. I'm running through the forest to the logging site. It's getting dark. The light seeps away as though there are millions of tiny ponchos in the skies to reaches can escape, and then the darkness starts to pour in. I welcome the darkness. I know what I will see. I welcome the darkness! It's thick, oily, snake-like. It wraps around my ankles, caresses my wrist, and then takes my hand and leads me to the site. It's full of maimed bodies. There are trees, fallen trees, still alive, still struggling for air. And then there's a stench. I see movements in the darkness, but I'm not alone. I see the movements in the darkness. I see shapes moving into the darkness. They have long skeletal arms. They have wrapped in glistening black intestines, and each arm has a wide, gaping mandible, full of warring braids. They snap at me blindly. Inspiring! My friends stand by my side. Their eyes shine in the dark, and they are ready. They are angry. I can feel their rage merge with mine. I don't have to say anything. I lead the charge! And with a howl, I lead the charge. We clash with the shapes and start to destroy. We bite off head and tear off arms. We are the stuff of legends. Then I wake up. Find out what's happening to you. I gasped and bolted upright. High rage, I was alone. The sun was setting. In the deep red light, the room looked like it was bathed in blood. My room was on the ground, garden, and the duvet was in shred. The hair was full of tiny feathers dancing in the draft from the windows. What the fuck was going on? Chapter 3. I need to talk. I couldn't get back to sleep. Since I arrived in this accursed village, things have been getting stranger and stranger with every passing hour. And now I'm ripe. I'd ripped the pillow in half in my sleep. Nothing about it was normal. I need to talk it over with someone I trusted. Cornell knew a lot about the forest and spirituality, and he seems to like me. The sun has just set, and the moon wasn't up yet. I started walking. The forest loomed on the horizon. The activist camp was somewhere there, so I ran into Anya. Anya is neutral. Oh, Maya, good to see you, she said. We need to talk. I was all ears. I'm wondering if everything's okay. You've been acting strangely, she explained with a sigh. I asked around if she seems you made some risky friendships. Gold Forest? They know something about the forest and my connection to it, I answer, and I need that information. And I could use some support. She could come if she wanted. I know you have your own things to do, I admit it, but if you want, you can come with me. Anna is neutral. Anya smiles, sure, sister, and we walk together. Oh, even if she's neutral, she's gonna Calm? Okay. So maybe if she was cautious, she'll be maybe not. The camp had a different vibe than the logging site protest. There were more people there. We looked around. We tried to take it all in. They're coming and coming. Anya laughed. People in the camp seemed cheerful. Smells are intriguing. I watched them for a moment. Someone was singing. I heard 3 or 4 girls sing together in a unique Eastern European style called the White Voice. It was the most melodic, throaty growling I ever heard. I listened for a moment. Yeah, losing a rage. Stopped and just got lost in the music for a long while. People were milling about, setting up camp, cooking. Everyone was busy, looked around. I need to see Cornell. Balance rage. Hello, I said as I approached. Cornell smiled at me. Hello, he said. What brings you here? I need an answer, or I was confused. Balance rage. Cornell friendly. I'm confused, I answered. Is it really true? I mean, all the stories I've heard connecting me and the forest. Cornell looked at me with those uncanny gray eyes. I could feel his attention lock on me. Yes, it's true, and that's why we're here, to stop the government destroying the forest. To show that we don't agree and that we hope to make a difference. And you have your role to play. Will it work? Okay, so Danielle cautious, Kim sympathetic, Cornell friendly, Lisa cautious, Olga neutral, Pat sympathetic for some reason. Will it work? I ask. I don't know. All I know is that it worked before. It worked for Gandhi, it worked for segregation and apartheid, it worked for communism. Oh, so yeah, Cornell wants the non-violent approach, but I want to rage. And I think you know quite well that anger doesn't really get shit done. I knew that. I smiled back. Somehow being around him made me feel more relaxed. I know you can count on me, I answered. The forest needed my help, and I couldn't be just an observer anymore. So we may be a little citizen protest going on tonight. I need your support. We need to convince the others. They all wanted to do something that night, but after a whole day's discussions, they were still divided on what to do. 3 for one option, 3 for the other. I had the deciding vote. The peaceful protest or violence? I'm always up for peaceful protest. I mean, Cornell Loyo. I voted for the peaceful protest, and soon we were on our way. Anya tagged along. I asked Anya to go home. No, Anya tagged along. Anya's sympathetic. This is so exciting. I never done anything so illegal. So we came here. Gold mission. Stop the logging peacefully. We were on our way. Realized that follow the path was only because of my vote. I made a difference. National Park quarters were located in something called Palace Park. The name was ridicule. Was historical. Centuries. Okay. I looked around. I looked around once more. The moon was hidden behind the clouds and didn't see any stars in the sky. If you didn't count us, the park really seemed empty, dead. We were ready. Where would he hang it? Inspiration, the church, or balanced rage? I share my recommendation. Balanced rage, I think we should attach it to the drain pipes there and there. Point at the corner, it doesn't matter because the banner is a waste of time. She was clearly upset that we ditched her plan, but perhaps she has a point. I challenge her, I let her talk, or I ask her for advice. I'm gonna let her talk. Olga looked at me as though she expected me to say something, but I didn't take the bait. It's a great banner. I'm sure it will look good on picture published by a number of independent political blogs, but it's stuck so deep into the overeducated ecological disputes that people won't get it and the loggers won't care. Analytical. Did I use 1 point on analytical? I did. Oh no, I gained it. Oh no, I gained it because I was tied with Brave, so I gained a point of analytical. Soon the sign was up, screaming our message to all of Bielorusia. Cornell looked at me. Why? What do you think? -1 willpower. The title is glorious. I didn't really get that slogan, but I decided to play it cool. Oh, it's glorious. I'm glad you think so, Ygritte. I love the wording. Humans let the forest grow so they can take wood from it, but that isn't the purpose of the forest. Finally, we pulled the banner up. It's an important message, and yeah, look up with fire in our eyes. The world must know. Look at the sign flying over the park. I was proud of our work. When we finished, Cornell gathered us. I was probably accomplished, and I contributed to that. We helped the forest, even if it was only a little. Cornell reached for his bicycle. Let's go for a trip to remind ourselves that what we're going to protect. Gunshots in the wound. Busha is loyal. Woods was full of stars. Cycle in silence, enjoying the company of the forest. Enjoyed ours. At some time, the place of power opened up before us. The boulder looked relaxed. A soft breeze rustled in the trees, welcoming us. I was tense. I knew this place. Our Anya chuckled. I was tense. I was starting to have second thoughts. Something was telling me this was not a good night to be out in the forest. Because of the title, Gunshot in the Wood. With a high rage, I immediately felt the restless energy rising in my veins. I was ready to act. Why were we there? I wonder if anyone else felt it as well. What now? I asked at Cornell. He turned to me, but before he could answer, a loud sound tore through the silence. I was a gunshot. Anya gasped, looking around, wide-eyed, terrified. The other just tensed up, but didn't look concerned, just confused. Who's there? Cornell shouted. There was a rustle, and I saw a bunch of men in camo, each of them with a rifle, coming towards us between the trees. I observed them, wasting willpower or with high rage. What were they doing there? I'm gonna observe them. Bartek cautious. I watched their angry steps and I listened to the murmur curse. Suddenly I noticed Bartek was with them. He winced when he saw me. Their leader, okay, because the father is part of them, that's why. The leader awaited us for a moment and they focused on Cornell. The area is closed for the night. The huntsman said in Polish. He was content in his voice. Police officer, they're gonna get you arrested. Inspiring. He was a man used to being listened to, and he tried to sound self-assured, but it takes one to know one, and I knew he was nervous. So I punched him? No. A hunt? Bastard. I tried to de-escalate. Because last time I punched him, and I got hurt, and that's when I got turned into a werewolf. I'm gonna say, a hunt? Bastard! Inspiring 8. Olga sympathetic. Wow. A hunt, you bastard! You complete pieces of shit, I yelled. Olga smiled at me when I then lunged towards them. Oh, Olga lunged towards them. Night fright. High rage. The clearing shattered like a broken window to sharp pieces, its edge cut clean by the rays of a flash whirling in the darkness. One piece, a shout, another, a silhouette, a leaping, a dodge, a grunt, a punch, a cry. My mind was crystal clear, blah 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 blah. I body slam into one of the men and he stumbled. I punch him harder! Brave. 6 brave. Took them hard momentum, hit as hard as I could. I heard a crack when I hit his nose. Then there was a loud thud. A flashlight shone his way. Anya screamed. Anya screamed and grabbed my arm. I saw blood on his head, blood on the stone next to his head. Oh, okay, because I punched him harder and then I killed the guy. Yeah, remember. A victory, he had it coming or didn't mean to. A victory, excellent, a victory. I turned away from the man to look for another target. I heard a shout. She killed him! One of the men shouted, the horror clear in his voice. He directed his flashlight at my face, blinding me. I grabbed the flashlight with high rage. I moved towards him and grabbed the flashlight, but the guy was strong and we started to struggle. A second later, I noticed a huge silhouette behind him. I looked at me and his eyes were glowing. Leave her alone, it growled, and I recognized the voice. Was it Cornell? It was Cornell. It was bulging, muscle growing bigger, bones getting longer, and we let out a joyous roar. Throwing his hands, now equipped with strong claws in the air, he grabbed the man and slashed across his torso. I raged. I felt a surge of adrenaline, my nostril flares, and I heard myself growling. I shook my head. Something warm landed on my face, more blood. Owl, terrified scream. Anya looked at me panicked. What do we do? The man screamed again and pointed a gun at Cornell. I attacked Cornell, attacked the man with a gun. I turned and ran. High rage, I attacked the man with a gun. But I'm gonna get shot if I go do that. I'm not gonna run. Alright, we're doing this. Attack the man with a gun. Acting on instinct and zeroing on the man pointing the gun and launched himself at him. Yeah, I took a bullet for Cornell. I lashed out blindly. Brave, 7. High rage, blinded by the blood in my eye, my shoulder and chest burning. I went berserk. I shot, I swung my arms blindly. I cried and I howled. I was done fighting. And then I was done. It says condition healthy. Not really. I gave up. No, I tried to get up. Punched the earth to try to get some feeling in my hand. I greeted a tree, tried to get up, collapsed again, felt so cold. I saw the full moon. Condition impaired. Get up, she said, so I got up. I stretch. I breathe. Rageful. I'm happy. My mind is clear. I get 3 willpower. With high rage, the creature is no threat to me, but its presence is annoying. It smells across, almost sent me reeling, and I don't like being pricked. I rip his head off, I stick my hand in it, or I push it away. I'm gonna kill him anyway, so I'm gonna rip his head off. I reach out lazily and rip its head off of its shoulder. Blood blooms from its neck like a beautiful flower. I throw the head towards the moon. My ears prick and I hear more creatures running blindly through the bushes. I feel better. Killing somebody makes me feel good. My legs no longer stings and I feel better than ever before. Prey! Hunt! I smell prey and I start hunting. They do not see me as I move silently through the undergrowth. I rage. The creature are running away. Their backs turned to me. A growl escaped from between my teeth and one of them turns my way. It challenged me. I attack, I roar, just look at it. I'm gonna attack. Fuck everybody. I don't skip a big beat as I lunge at it and close my jaw on his head. The taste is so sweet. Balance rage. Piercing light burns my eyes. I hear more creature coming my way. They want to hurt me. I find them all. I run away. I struck them down one by one. I struck them one by one. I hide in the shadows and they are too slow, too dumb, too clueless to notice me. I strike them down one by one. Some fight back. Some manage to defend themselves briefly, but most of them don't see me coming. A new smell. Low rage, the wind brings a new smell. The air tastes of fur and musk and blood. Shapes moves along the trees and there are no creatures. There are people like me. Suddenly I'm surrounded by them. I think I know them. They seem familiar. It's like I met them in the past, but they were hidden. They close in on me. What do they want? I defend myself, I keep them away, or I wait. I'm gonna keep them away. The hair on my neck stands on end and I growl at them. They take a step back and we start circling each other, the night air thick with tension. Low rage, run with us, they say. And we run, I howl with joy and run away. Okay, and we run. And we hunt together, and there is joy. There are no words to describe the thrill of being a part of a pack and closing in on your prey and tearing it apart. Then I get lost chasing something only because it's escaping. I'm alone in the heart of the forest. I look up and see no moon, only clouds and tangled branches. Something changes. Back to human. I realize how tired I was. I stumbled. Darkness. Nothing was okay. The night skies was full of stars. I opened my eyes. Dry dark leaf ivy. Covered in ripples of lichen where the vines haven't taken hold. The thorny leafless bushes at their base were overrun with nettles. The fungi radiated with a ghoulish, sickly green light. Dark, sponge-like mushrooms clung to the fallen trees. I tried to breathe. It was cold. Something was wrong. Tried to breathe. Yeah, it's just like the vision. Inspiring. Someone has drawn strange symbol on my skin in the drying blood. Was it me? I knew what was coming. I remember my dream and slowly lifted my eyes. The dead bodies were strewn around. There was a severed head right in front of me. I felt sick. I winced and touched it. Okay, I'm gonna take a willpower because I have too much. I wince and touch it. Overcoming my disgust, I gently touch its wet hair and watches as the head toppled over. The face was contorted, his eyes bulging, the mouth open as though the head was still struggling for air. I recognize that face. Bad company. I killed Bartek. It's okay, the guy was useless anyway. His face splattered with dried blood. There was so much of it I couldn't see its freckles. It was my fault. I screamed to get my rage. I'm gonna scream to get my rage back. No, I let out a long, blood-curdling scream. The night swallowed it. Corval is loyal. The bushes rustled, and a moment later I saw Cornell coming out from between the trees. He looked at me, at the head, at my face. He came closer and squatted beside me. This is what we were trying to tell you. His gray eye smiled. See? You're a werewolf. He looked at me and blinked. Everything faded to black. Read Omid, Auspice Unknown, Rank Cub, try Unknown, okay. So now this is the... Which tribe are you gonna be? Gentle snoring filled with the warm space. I crawled outside. Quietly, not as to wake anyone, I crawled outside. Alone, hiding in the tall grass, I sniffed around. The sky was bright, and the forest around me was dark and full of interesting smell. High in the trees, birds yell about... Okay. I'm not gonna rage. I'm gonna rage. I was in danger! I was in danger. The thought was abrupt and unwanted like a siren. Something had happened last night. Pressed myself flat to the ground and pricked my ears. They wouldn't find me unprepared. A creature stirred in bushes nearby. A dark, tall silhouette. Strangely familiar smell. I tensed up or I ran away. Tense up and watched the human as they looked around. I'm a wolf! Maya, there you are, they say when they notice me. It was time to get out of there. I spasm from wolf to human. Suddenly a feeling like cramp or spasm. I was Hamid, the human form. The body started resetting itself to its familiar shape. A bone broke and fused again. Muscle and sinews moved into my chin. Shiver, I looked up. Confused, look at the person approaching me. Corval is loyal. You look cold, Corval smirked and threw me a bundle of clothes. You better not change for a while. They won't survive it. Not until you learn the right, at least. When you say they won't survive it, who are they talking about? Thought about the previous night when I was raging through the forest, and now differently I experienced the world through the wolf's senses, and about the discomfort and confusion of changing shape. So I was a werewolf. Master the change. No denying it, I was no longer human. Inspiring, I wanted the full story. Tell me everything, I demanded. It seems I've missed a lot about life. Don't worry, there are plenty of stories to tell. We just stood there for a moment in silence and was wondering how one usually learned that they were a werewolf. How come nobody knew about werewolf? Okay, but I'm not going to waste a willpower on Cornell. I'm going to keep my willpower for the important questions. Like... I'm gonna investigate everybody. Does it make sense? How come nobody knows werewolf exists? We protect the veil. Easy to convince, wouldn't believe. The delirium helps. Realize something. Wolves have awakened. Fight or flight. Balance rage. The wolves were closing in on me. I knew my next decision would have serious consequences. Denial, escape, acceptance, cooperation. Accept. The headless body was heavy. They said that as my first kill, it was my burden, it was my duty to take it to the barrows. Rage. I didn't want to do it. It was heavy in more ways than one. Guilt was heavy eating at me, and I guess it was obvious. You have to balance the debt you cause with your achievements. This is the path of the Garu. I focused on the walk. I didn't want to talk or to think, for that matter, not about the person I was carrying, or rather trying to carry. It was just a thing I needed to transport from point A to point B. Yeah, I was wasting health. The body was too heavy. I need to transform into that other form. Curl up into a ball with my arms around my hand. I can't, I said when it was the only thing I could say louder and louder until it became a shriek. I can't, I can't, I can't, I can't. Cornell sighed, kneeled beside me. You're a werewolf, Gaia's soldiers. There's nothing you cannot do. Get up. We have a world to save, and you have an obligation to this forest. He was right. Progress goal with mission. Okay, it took a deep breath. He was right. I was here for a reason. I had a thing to do. So I changed. Suddenly I knew what to do. Spending a willpower? No. I'm gonna be a glabro. I was glabro, the near human form. The pain was stronger than I ever imagined. I felt my muscles spasm. It hurt. I remember them from my dream. The weasel and the wolf. Yes, we know each other, I said, remembering my dream. We sort of met the other night. The two animals stopped in front of me in the middle of the path. We came here to teach the cub, said the wolf. Was there really a weasel? Turned my eye away from the weasel, flicker as if it was just a projection on a broken screen. One moment an animal, a moment later just an idea. Can you leave me alone? The weasel circled me, and before I knew it, I could feel small claws on my legs, then on my back, then on my arm. It smelled of musk and electricity, and then it bit my ear. I tried to shake it off. Get off me, I yelled, trying to knock the weasel off my arm. Ooh, a feisty one, I like it. Its electronic voices echoed in my head. Enough, the wolf growled, or at least that was what my brain decided to hear. Felt the weasel draw his breath. In the beginning there was Gaia, Mother Earth, I looked for the weasel for advice. Okay, I'm gonna ask something else. Were we creature of the worm, the weaver, or the wild? Creature of the weaver? Winter weasel, sympathetic. So were werewolf creatures of the Weaver asked, enforcing order. They were Gaia's children, the wolf snarled, born to herd and contain humans. So what went wrong? The Weaver grew true ambitions and trapped the worm within its lifeless web. The weasel entered, confined, and denied. The worm went slowly insane. Gaia is dying, choked by the Weaver, eaten alive by the worm. Sometimes you must fight the Weaver, but usually you can reason with its servants. The barrel looks just as I remember them, but somehow calmer, warm, and welcoming. I saw the ground open slowly, like a mouth in the earth. Let's do this. Let's put the body in the hole. Welcome to the new life, the talking white weasel grinned. We have something else to show you. I ran with them or I asked so many questions. Too bad there's no save spot. No save spot. I'm at 58% of the story so far. How many hours? Is it 2 hours? Okay. I ran with them. Vision quest. Okay, I saw the past once. I'm gonna pick something else. The future, your destiny, or the present, the forest? I'm gonna go with the present, the forest, since my objective was knowing about the forest. So the present, the ever-changing paths. It was hard to find the den, although I knew where it was. Pusha was loyal. I felt the Pusha playing with me, twisting paths, blocking my way with bushes and dead trees, and then suddenly opening a new path that was straight and full of sunshine. I got tired of it. I pushed on. I said full rage. I got tired of it. I decided to make my own way. Since the change, I'd become acutely aware of how my body worked, and I remember what humans were good at. Running. Stubborn, relentless, long-distance running. Not as fast as a deer, not as nimble as a wolf, but steady and without rest. So I ran, and then I was there. And then I was there. An old den, hidden in the roots of a crooked pine. I crouched down. I crouched and looked into the hole. A sudden gust of wind brought with the almost imperceptible smell of wolf cubs. I lay down under the tree and closed my eyes. I could feel the sun. I breathed it in. I breathed it in. And it fills me with peace and warmth. The wind rustled through the leaves and the air smells of sweet dew and greenery. The sun shines on me. The ever-changing present. I close my eyes and extend my hands and feel my fingers dip into the thickness of the grass that covers the earth. I hear a whisper. I am the grass, it whispers to me. I cover everything. A bird flies over the forest. The trees move their branches like green undulating waves over the endless oceans. I see trees, I see sickness. I'm going to see the trees. I see trees that are eaten by bugs. They desiccate and died. I see loggers or I see foresters. I see lower rage. I see humans felling the sick trees to protect the healthy ones. Felling the sick trees to protect the healthy ones. Yeah, but they're trying to... they need to fell the sick trees, but they fell the sick one, the dead ones, so that they don't make a difference. Sorry. I see forester, I see humans living in the forest. I see humans living in the forest, another low rage. I see a man sitting motionless against a tree trunk and a little squirrel walking down to him curious. I am not alone. I hear the mournful howl of a lonely, heartbroken wolf somewhere in the forest. Look again, it says, and the smell of ash and tears overwhelms me. And I look, I have seen enough. No, I looked. Look again. I see sickness. I see trees that are eaten by bugs, that desiccate and die. I see the loggers or the hunters. Humans come and feed the animals only to shoot them. I see loggers, I see humans destroying the forest. The forest tries to heal itself, but nobody noticed the sickness. Humans turned the forest into a desert. I have seen enough. I have seen enough, I said. Inspiring. Many stories have happened in the forest, and I'm ready to tell the one we need. I'm angry and scared. I feel like a part of the forest. I rage! I am angry and scared! A cold wind swept through the forest, and it's no longer warm. The cold, bitter wind hits my face, and I sink into the dry sand where there was once a path. There is no grass anymore. It was destroyed by the wheels of a car. The soil dries up. The wind takes it with it. The sand cuts my palms and my legs. It covers my mouth, and I cannot breathe. Humans are sickness, whispered the ash grey wolf. They are the sickness, and you are the cure. I think I understand. Hint updated. The Pushka or humans, the choice was mine. What the forest wants of me. If I want to save the Pushka, human have to be gone. I opened my eyes. I opened my eyes and I saw the wolf looking at me. Come with me. This is what the Pushka wants, she said to me. There is no one else to be my cub. Come to me, child. I will nurse you. I will lick your wounds. We'll kill together. We will feast and we will be merry. The forest will grow. I looked at her. Oh, so this is the mother wolf. Perhaps for the first time I saw her for who she was. I raged. Her pelt was marred with fire. Her eyes were smoking embers. Ash was falling from her heavy heaving flank. She looked old, ancient, sitting with anger. She was mourning incarnated. She was Kazan's mother. Oh! She was Kazan's mother, mourning her stolen cubs, holding in the woods, waiting for a response that never came. But she was more than that. She was also the Buska. She was more than one wolf. She was the darkness. She was also the Pusha. She was also the spirit of the forest. The Pusha herself, wounded, hurt, violated, and mourning all her children that human had killed. At least, that was what I thought when I looked at her. The wolf mother looked back at me, and something in the eyes made me realize that she was trying to tell me what the Pusha wanted from me. Join me, she pleaded. Only you can understand me. Only you. I went to her, but I walked away into the forest. Do I want the path of the weasel? No, I wanted the full rage, so I went to her. Morning wolf loyal. She accepted me, and I accepted myself. The wolf mother was the voice of the forest. Stop the logging at any cost. I understood who I was. The wind howled, the trees shook their branch, and the humans looked at the forest in terror. The wind howled. A lone howl pierced the silence like a single ray of moonlight in the darkness. Then there was another one, and another, and then another. A choir of voices, triumphant and joyful. I opened my eyes. Opened my eyes. There was a clearing around me. There were wolves, huge monstrous wolves, howling at the moon. Rage! And I joined them! I turned into a hippo. Instinctively, I joined to the choir. I was Ispo, the monstrous wolf form. The pain was overwhelming. My spine cracked and twisted. My knees and ankles broke and fell to the ground. My jaw shattered and rearranged itself. My whole skin was on fire, rippling and sprouting fur. I howled in agony. When I rose, panting and spitting blood, I was Hispo. With strong paws, mighty jaws, and a mane of fur. More than a wolf, scary and monstrous. My voice was unsteady at first, but soon I found my own note, a unique addition to the chorus. Well, hello there, Cornell smiled at me, and welcome to the Sept. The what? The Sept, whatever that meant. The Sept, whatever that meant. Okay, just so you know, I have no idea what a Sept is, I said slowly. For a werewolf, the pack is family, and an alliance of pack united in common goal is a Sept. So there are two packs there. I looked at Olga, looked at Cornell, looked at Kim, and looked at Pat. Look at Olga. Three of the monstrous wolf changed. Olga and Lisa stood up, human looking again. Their clothes rumpled. A yellow-eyed wolf by their side turned out to be Danielle. So we are the pack of the morning wolf mother, says Olga. So Olga, Lisa, and Danielle. The morning wolf mother, the smell of ash and tears, and for a moment I saw the wolf spirit among them. I look at Cornell. The great grey wolf changed into Cornell. Soon Pat and Kim joined. We are the winter weasel pack, said Kim. A white shadow settled on Pat's shoulder. Smelled musk and electricity. Okay, so one smells of ash and tears, and the other of musk and electricity. We are all Gaia soldiers, and what that we have no choice, but we can choose from whom we fight alongside. What were we fighting for? Inspiring. What are we fighting for, I asked. We fight to save our Mother Earth, Danielle wailed. She is sick, dying. And we are the last beacon of hope against the darkness and corruption that is the worm, Kim said. The last reek of decay and burning oil. Did I have to join the pack? No god who can survive on their own. Your old human life is over. We will never abandon you. I have so many questions. What about the moon? Was every sept that diverse? Look at Cornell. I didn't even know if it was a stupid question or a smart one. I look at Cornell. It's far from the standard, but desperate times make strange bedfellows. Normally a sept is dominated by one tribe, maybe two. There are at least a dozen tribes, and I hope, Maya, that you will choose yours wisely. What about the spirit? How does that work? Here we already know. Okay, so As for the tribe, there are two people who could mentor you now. All guys from the Black Furies, an ancient tribe of women warrior. And Cornell is from the Children of Gaia. It's more peace and harmony guy. Tribe of the Unicorn. Corval is loyal. I think the Children of Gaia sounds cool. I said. Cornell smiled and nodded. Yes, you seem like a good fit. He felt it was a good moment to talk for him for a while. I asked about his tribe. How did he become a werewolf? Was it between what it was between him and Olga? So I'm gonna ask about his tribe. The Children of Gaia are the most peaceful of all the tribes, Cornell explained. We don't immediately restore to violence, if you know what I mean. That doesn't seem feasible. Or I thought I did. Cornell friendly. I don't think it's doable, I said slowly. Werewolf seems to be quite fond of violence. Oh yes, and we really try not to be that big bad wolf from the fairy tales, you know. He laughed. Our patron is the unicorn. Unicorn? Says badass. Yeah, the unicorn is badass. Yeah, the unicorn is badass. Okay, so if I wasn't a Ragabash, it would probably be a Children of Gaia. Okay, unicorns are badass, I agreed. Imagine the power of a charging horse condensed on the tip of the horn, lethal. Other tribes still consider us sissies, Cornell shook his head. While the grass walker have a cockroach as a patron, no one makes a fuss. Double standards, if you ask me. The glass walkers is a cockroach? Kim never said that to me. Not Kim. Pat never said that to me. The Molnar is a rat. The Ragabash is what? The unkept dog? How did he become a werewolf? So I said, how did you become a werewolf? Shit, I thought what a lame opening. Hello stranger, where did you learn to rip people's throat? I was born a werewolf, it seemed, he answered. He was playing with me. I ask again. How did you learn you were a werewolf? I ask again. Oh, that. I was serving in Afghanistan. There was an ambush. Stuff happened. What stuff? What stuff, I ask? Werewolf stuff. He wasn't very forthcoming. They sent me home with PTSD, and once home I got found by others. They needed someone who knew how to fight. Why? Why, I ask? We were the real eco-terrorists back then, my pack and I, but I realized that violence only breeds more violence. It's not the way I want to follow. What it was possible to change. Was it possible to change tribes? Was it between him and Olga? What it was between. Okay. Well, since you've asked, yes, it's possible to change tribes. Was there a story? I listened carefully. You know, I was a glass walker, all bells and whistles, big bad wolf, and then, he sighed, most of my pack was killed and I broke. When I pulled the piece together, I decided to change the tribe and became a child of Gaia. What it was between him and Olga. How do you know Olga, I asked. She was in my pack back in Berlin, and for a moment we fought the worm together. He shook his head, but then we lost a battle and she went back to Poland. I kept asking, what do you think about her, I asked. She leads the sept as well as she can, but you know, sometimes I think she just wants revenge, not to solve the problems. Could they be solved? He was holding something back. Could they be solved? Can they be solved, I asked. I think so, yes, but it's not with such radical ways that as she presents. She calls for war laws to be obeyed, and we are not even at war yet. I had no other questions. Have you decided? Cornell asked. I need to know more about the tribes. and find an option that would resonate with who I was. Talk with Kim, who's sympathetic. Talk with Danielle, who is cautious. Talk with Lisa. Talk with Pac, who's sympathetic. Let's try with Kim. The Bone Gnawers, urban werewolves fighting for the disadvantaged and the marginalized, children of the rat. I asked him about their story. 1 willpower. I'm gonna ask until I ran out of willpower. It is always about prejudice, said Kim, when I ask for their story. That's not what I ask. I ask about how you became a werewolf, I clarify. Patience, darling, Kim waved their fingers at me. I've seen it all, you know. I was born on the day when the Berlin Wall was constructed, and half of my family was cut out. They look somber. I ran away from home when I was 13 and hung out with some really weird crowd at the zoo station. Why did they run? Oh, I read that book. I think that I read the book. It was a memoir of a homeless teenager with a drug habit. I like it there. There were animals and we lived like animals, but I liked it, King shrugged. You see, I always knew I was a werewolf. My family was full of them. I went through everything you could imagine. Punk rock, burning squads, drug dealing, gay clubs, you name it, I was there. I nodded. And Kim continued the story. And then there's always some kind of sad prejudice. Bricks, prejudice is the worst shit. All those little constructs in their brains that poison everything they do. Do you really have a rat as the patron? Did they really have a rat as a patron? I mean... Sure we do. It's a very good patron. Resilient. You want to be like a rat. Always managing. Always afloat. This shit here... They just are around. This shit comes from prejudice and from exclusion and from greed. Take greed and prejudice away, 90% of the world's problems are solved. Yeah, they sighed heavily. Now tell it to the other Garu and they look down at you because you're a bone gnawer and they think they are superior. Prejudice. Prejudice everywhere. Okay. Okay, let's try talking with Pat. Pat was a glasswalker and her tribe was finding its niche in cutting edge. So the patron was a cockroach. Talked for a while. What was she doing in the forest? How did you get... It says, oh, you don't look like a werewolf, you look like a tech nerd just because she has disheveled, bleach out hair. No, bullshit. How did you get a spirit patron anyway? How did you get Winter Weasel to be your patron? I was curious. Oh, I caught it, say Pat. Or rather, I made sure it would have more to eat with me than alone. That's how you catch weasels. Was it a forest spirit? But it is a forest spirit, isn't it? I think it's a weasel, so it get accustomed to live where it is food. And right now, it's the city. It hunts electricity spirits these days and feasts on them. Okay, so the winter weasel is the city animal. And the reason why it speaks with an electric voice, it's because it feeds on electricity spirit. What happened with Cornell's old pack? You knew Cornell for years, I said. What happened to his old pack? Our pack was decimated strictly because we were following Cornell's plan. Okay, and she still follow him? And yet you're still following him. I couldn't believe my ears. We've both learned a lot, she said, and we have a good working relationship. She sighed. You know, he is stunning. He makes a great impression. The first, the fifth, the 10th as well. But he's not a leader, if you know what I mean. I didn't know how to answer. Well, a true leader puts his pack first and himself second. And Cornell makes great first impressions. Okay. Okay, so that's why when I said it's when I said the thing about it's not a personal victory, he was hurt. I upsetted him when I said that because he's got some sort of ego, despite everything that happened to him. What was she doing in the forest? She didn't look like a werewolf at all. What was she doing in the forest? So you're basically a city dweller, I observe? All glasswalkers are. It's a natural habitat. I feel quite out of place in the forest. That got my interest. Is it a tribe thing? I asked, interested. That's what it is, she nodded. We use the weaver to fight the worm, and the forest is not the weaver's domain. And I happen to be quite fond of humanity, so they have great potential. I had to take it over. Okay, I talked with Danielle, who is cautious now for some reason. I asked Danielle if I could join his tribe, but he didn't understand the questions. I'm a red talon, he said, as if it explained everything. Oh. What exactly were red talons? Is the T tribe of the Garu or born as wolves? Daniel explained. Okay, it's the tribe. Oh, okay, it's the tribe of the Garu or born as wolves. Oh, okay. So there are some humans who turn into werewolf, but then there's wolves who turns into werewolves as well. And this is why wolves don't like red talon don't like humans. They were born wolves. Oh, okay. We don't mix with others and we kill humans, but since I'm the only one here, I decided it was better to join the rest. It was a wise decision. It's better to have a pack than to be alone, I said. He nodded. There is always strength in numbers. I protect my folk better when there are more werewolves around. Your folk? Wolves. Yeah, I don't want to be, I don't want to be a red talon. I talked with Lisa. Lisa is cautious. I asked Lisa about her tribe. She inherited the Sibarak legacy from her Buriat grandfather. Yeah, I have no idea what it is. How did she become a werewolf? My grandpa saw I had the soul of a wolf and started teaching me about the spirit world. She looked at me with her violet eyes. When the time was right, he guided me through the change. I wish my grandpa had done the same. I didn't remember my grandpa. I wish my grandpa had done the same. Lisa unfriendly. Oh shit. I look at Lisa and felt some pang of jealousy. I wish my grandpa had been there for me. I guess he didn't care. Oh, he must have told you many things when you were a baby and you remembered, Lisa said. How else would you know the high tongue? That was a good question. Was Sibarak a Russian word? But in Polish it means something else. I must have heard it before. Political prisoners exiled to Siberia, so they returned thousands of them. Why are you using the name if it has such a loaded meaning? My tribe name describes both my legacy, my granny, political exile, my grandpa was Siberian indigenous. I use it because it speaks the truth. Ask her about the wolf mother. What about the morning wolf mother, I ask. She's mighty and powerful. There was a tone of deep respect on Lisa's voice. Who was she? Tell me more, I ask. She's old, very old. We don't know when she first appeared here. I think she's the avatar of the forest. The avatar? What did she want? An emanation, an embodiment, like she actually is the Pusha, you know? She's powerful, she knows stuff, and she is really, Lisa halted, looking for words. She knows how to find her way to people's head. Lisa's look at me for a moment, decide what to say next. I respect her, but sometimes I think she gets into Olga's head too much. Olga lets her in, and the wolf pushes. And I don't know. Maybe it's the right way to do things? I think I'm gonna become a Black Fury. I don't have enough willpower to go with Olga. Hostile! She's been talking to me a lot, I admitted, and I agreed to help her. Okay. That's all I wanted from her. Now, I'm gonna be a children of Gaia, but I'm gonna follow Olga's leadership. That's all I wanted from her. Thanks, that was all I needed to do on the moment. But I didn't want to talk anymore, because I have 0 willpower. I was too exhausted to bug them with personal questions. There was a lot of werewolves there. One thing is bugging me, I said. Why are there so many of you here? Suddenly everyone is Baloisia's a werewolf? None of the old guard survived the 90s. We have to start from scratch. There are only 6 of us, and the 3 of us are not even local, Cornell pointed out. 2 packs too small for their own good. They all look at me with anticipation. I took my time. I rage. I took my time, enjoying the moment. My body was buzzing with energy, ready to shift shape on the slightest sign of danger. My mind was clear. I knew what to do. Okay, so I'm healthy again because I have 1 willpower. Beat the rite of passage. We have to destroy the logger's image. We couldn't stay quiet. We need to educate people. Destroy the logger's image. Inspiring. We need to destroy the logger's image, I decided, to paint them as bad people. Olga had another idea. I still think we should burn those fuckers to the ground. Cornell had another idea. Something is rotten in Bialosia, and I think we should find and neutralize local force that support the logging. And continue with my plan. We can do a live stream from here, a documentary, show people why the forest is so precious, show them what's happening here. I know how to make a thing go viral. When we're finished, the loggers will be the vilest of the vile in the public's opinion. Daniel Bean. Spoken like a true galliard. You were born under a gibbous moon, weren't you, Maya? It's my auspice, too. How did he know? I'm a galliard. I look at him surprised. How did he know? Inspiring. Mom always told me that when she gave birth to me, the gibbous moon was shining through the window, giving her comfort. I nodded. So I'm a I'm the storyteller, a galliard. I got glories, 2 glories, 0 honor, 1 wisdom. Okay. The storyteller. Born in a gibbous moon. It's a path of glory and wisdom, added Lisa. Garu, born under the gibbous moon, are storytellers and lord keepers, just like you, Danielle, and me. Oh shit! Kim and Danielle are galliard. It's a path of glory and wisdom, added Lisa. Your place in the werewolf society will be determined by your renown. You can earn glory through defeating mighty enemies and succeeding at dangerous quests. You earn honor by following your moral imperative and upholding the laws of the Garu. You earn wisdom by acting efficiently and thinking well before you act. I start with 1 wisdom, but I think I'm gonna stay at 1 wisdom with my rage. And renown will change as you play, contributing to Gaia's legend among the Garu, yeah. So this is why I start at 2 glories. Or maybe I felt overwhelmed. Olga must have sensed my confusion. Come on, we have a lot to discuss, she patted my shoulder, and we have to find your phone and wallet. So I follow her. I nodded and follow her. And to tie up loose ends in my own life. I spit blood. My throat is sore, my lung hurts, I spit blood. I need to get out. Anya, I need help. I need to stop the bus. Rageful, I need to get out. I hit the window as it moves, it doesn't break. It's gray and dull and some of it stays on my hand. The substance is sticky and makes my skin itch. Spiders! Men crawling with thousands of tiny spiders, weaving like webs, tremendous speed. The worm! Tried to fight them, but they're too small and there are too many of them. And after a few seconds, I cowered in cobwebs, unable to move. There's a hiss. Slowly, a long, dark, thin shape comes out of Bartek's mouth. A black snake that reeks of rotten meat, acid, and oil. Don't fight, Maya. You're already mine, just like your grandpa. Then it kisses me. I've been kissed by the worm. No. Oh, I got my full health. Already at 75. I woke up in my bed. Anna's sympathetic. Oh, it's not loyal. Okay, so she's fine. For a moment, the whole werewolf business has been a dream. Then I heard a giggle, looked up and saw Anya looking at me with a grin. Girl, you shouldn't know how to party. You were gone for 2 days. She shook her head. Was Bartek with you? He's not returning my calls. Oops. And what was with you sneaking in through the window in the middle of the night naked? She raised the eyebrow. I did some crazy things back home, but I never partied that hard. High rage. Yeah, I got startled by a stray dog on my way back. Panic, shapeshift, and ruined my clothes again. That was so much to talk about. You got startled by a stray dog, so I panicked and I shapeshift. Whoops! There was so much to talk about. I didn't know where to start. What about Bartek? How should I handle the Bartek thing? I couldn't tell her that he was dead, that I had killed him. I don't really know where Bartek is right now. My voice trembling a bit. Anya looked at me like she sensed something was wrong. I couldn't stand her stare. High rage. Anya is neutral again. Stop looking at me like that! I shouted my rage, something flary. I told you I have no clue where the fuck he is! Anya's lips start trembling as she storms out, tears in her eyes. I messed up again. Or fuck. I don't want to waste my last willpower. So I'm gonna go fuck. I punched the closed door and my hand went straight to the wood, splinters digging deep into my flesh. Oops. And then I lost it. Oh, I turned Krynos! Oh, shit! I am Krynos, the war form. Pains at me like a wrecking ball. Every bone in my body breaks and moves and resets. I rode in agony. Panting and growling, I rise and rise and rise. I'm an 8-foot-tall killing machine. I am sad and hurt and my friend has left me. I wail with sorrow and the window panes shatter. The shard of glass glimmer in the sun. I smash the room to pieces. I smash the wardrobe. One flick of my wrist and the wardrobe turns into a cloud of splintered wood. I break the bed. Fuck this bed and breakfast. I lift the bed and smash it against the floor. I wreck the whole room. Hey, don't use all my rage. I tear Tanya's things to pieces. Stop it! Someone shouts through the door. I'm calling the police. I'm not gonna change back. I lift the bed and smash it against the floor. I punch holes in the walls. I smash the windows. I smash the door. Police is hostile now. No shit. I slam my body against the door, fling them down the corridor, and the shouting stops. I change back. Listening to the shouts and distant sirens, I quickly pack what remains of my things. What was I thinking? I asked my reflection to a shard of broken mirror. I didn't know how to answer. Yeah, this is how you tied your end with the human world. You burn the bridge and you move on. I shrugged. Whatever the answer was, it was now Maya the werewolf's problem, not Maya the student. Maya the student is dead. I took the bag and I left. Back into a Hamid, dropped my bags in the camp and ran through the plan one more time. They expected me to act like a galliard, but we also discussed other plans, both more physical. Philodox, justice, retribution. Arun, war, explosive. Galliard, stories, propaganda. I want to go with the Philodox, justice and retribution. This is probably, yeah, this is probably Cornell's auspice. And Arun is probably Olga's. Uh, duh, duh, duh. Okay. With Olga's pack's local connections and Cornell's pack's technological wizardry, we followed the money and found out who was paying the lodgers and security guards. Behind all the ideology and politics, it was all just business. We had to stop the money flowing. They were cutting down trees because someone was paying them to do it. We decided to stop the money flowing. Finally, we were ready. Alright, again, willpower. Punish those guilty of the logging. After a few days of stakeout and preparation, we identified our target and we were ready to move. We started with a kidnapping. Oh boy. Lying justice. We let him out in the middle of the forest. I took the lead, or low rage, I let Cornell take the lead. Nope, I'm gonna take the lead. I yanked the bag off the man's face. Cornell lifted the flashlight and shined it in his eyes so he couldn't see us. Low rage, the man reeked of fear and too much aftershave. I knew him. I looked at him and sighed, or this was going to be easy. Low rage, this was going to be easy. I smiled, the job was going to be easy. I realized that I knew a lot about our target because the man behind the local logging industry was Bartek's father, and I had killed his son. But willpower, but that didn't matter. No, rage. I killed his son. He didn't know that, and the body would never be found, but did it matter? The man whimpered and shielded his eyes. It was time to deliver my message. I was blunt. I explained how things were, or I toyed with him. Low rage, I toyed with him. I was watching your villa the other day. Your wife seems like a nice lady, and your daughter seems smart as well. Promising. I sneer. It looks to me like you've made enough on the logging, wouldn't you say? Time to explore other opportunities. He almost shat his pants. I could smell it, but I decided to play the tough guy. Fuck off, you bitch, he yelled. I'm going to make your life a fucking misery. Just you wait. I know the chief of the police. I know MPs. You won't get away with this. Who do you think you are? Oh, I'll show you who I am, I said quietly. I felt Cornell tense by my side, but he said nothing. He just watched. I change. What are we gonna be? Glabro, Crino, Cispo, or Lupus? We're gonna be Hispo. Hispo, the monstrous wolf form. My spine cracked and twisted, my knee and ankles broke, and I fell on the ground. My jaw shattered, and I rearranged myself. My skin was rippling and sprouting fur. I howled. When I arose, I was more than a wolf. Scary and monstrous, with strong paws, mighty jaws, and a mane of fur. I bared my teeth. At him and growled, and then I lunged. He got on his feet and started to run, stumbling in the dark. I was after him. Rage. I was after him, enjoying the blood pumping in my vein, the sheer volume of my body, my four paws on the ground. He screamed at the top of his lung and collapsed. I was on top of him, my fang itches from his throat. He cried out and then he went limp. That was just the beginning. He looked like he was ready to talk. Not yet. That was just the beginning. But he had no idea prepared for him. That was just the beginning. I grew into Glabro. I was Glabro, the near-human form. My muscles spasmed and rearranged themselves, my jaw cracked and my mouth filled with blood. I clenched my fists and claws, drove into my palms, panting and whimpering. I changed. I was more than human, wolfish, strong, scary. I changed my wrinkle my nose. He lost control of his bladder. Let's leave him here, I heard Colonel behind my back. That should teach him. If not, he smiled, we'll continue until he learns. I made him suffer. It was a long hunt, or it was fun. I'm gonna go with it was a long hunt. Honor. +1. It was a long hunt, and I made sure that it was fair. I let him rest from time to time, but I never let him forget that he was being hunted. I made him run and made him sweat and I made him fear. I enjoyed the hunt. Cornell loyal. We enjoyed the hunt. Cornell and I, we made a good team. In the end, the man was cowering on the ground, crying and shaking. I leaned to him. I'm always watching, I growled in his ears. Please don't kill me, he moaned. I'll do whatever you want. I'll tell the people to leave. I'll stop it. Anything, just don't kill me. And then we were done. Use local connection to stop the logging. That was all I wanted to hear. Keep to your end of the bargain and I'll keep to mine, I promised and walked away. We left him in the middle of the forest. Balance rage, I couldn't wait. Okay, now I'm back to human form. I couldn't wait for the Sept manifesting that morning. Punishing the local lobbyists was my rite of passage, and I knew that I did great. The plan had been sound and perfectly executed. We met soon after the sunrise. On the same clearing when I broke up for the first time as a Garu. Lisa looked at us and smiled. Our patrons were looking. I am the Turge of this Sept, and I'm here to make sure we do things the right way. So Lisa is pissed off at me. Just want to make sure. Yeah, she's hostile. She doesn't like me at all. Anya is neutral. I'm unfriendly with the press and hostile with the police. But that's to be expected. Fuck them. I held my breath. She turns to me and I held my breath. Maya, come forth. Are you a cub who seeks recognition as an adult? She knew that already. I answered. Or what? I answered. I am, answered solemnly. Are you an applicant to a tribe? Lisa asked again. I confirm. I am, answer. Who speaks for the cub? Lisa looks at her stepmates. I do, Cornell stepped forward. I'm blind prophet of the children of... Oh, shit. Blind prophet of the children of Gaia. Philodox of the Winter Weasel Pack. I observed the cub on her mission and I'm here to tell the story. Blind prophet? Really? Secret names? Cool. I wonder if they all have cool secret names. They probably had. I love the ancient spiritual vibe of it all. As the cub passed her challenge, asked Lisa. Of course I did. I held my breath. I knew how it all happened, but I held my breath nevertheless. Corvell is loyal. She succeeded, was the answer. She fought bravely against overwhelming odds, and she succeeded. Lisa turned to me. Have you chosen your name? Lisa turned to me. My new secret name. Suddenly I remember my grandfather talking about his old friends. He never used their real names. They were always Thunder or Gray or Needle. I always thought it was a guerrilla thing, some kind of war name, so I wasn't sure anymore. I want to capture my whole life, my aspiration, my personality, my heritage in one name. I cleared my throat. Mist. Pieson, which was Polish for song. Pine, tree in the forest, or Cassandra, misunderstood seer. Oh yeah. I love Cassandra. I'm gonna go with Cassandra. My new name is Cassandra, Maya Cassandra Borodich. I answer, taking all of my precognitions that I hadn't believed. As for the tribe, choosing the tribe was another matter. Child of Gaia, Glasswalker, or Bone Gnawer. This is the only choice that I have. I'm gonna be Child of Gaia. Rainbows and unicorns. I made my choice at the beginning. Now it was just a formality. I became a child of Gaia, just as I wanted. Only one thing remained at the end of the ceremony and make me a full-fledged Garu. I have to join the pack. I was already sworn to the Wolf Mother. So instead of being a Children of Gaia of the Winter Weasel, I'm gonna be a Galliard. So it's gonna be Cassandra, the Children of Gaia, a Galliard of the Morning Wolf Mother. This is weird. Has my fate been already betided with the Wolf Mother, I chose her as my patron and joined Olga's pack, and so it was done. According to ancient rites, Lisa painted the mystical glyph on my tribe on my sternum. It disappeared after a moment, but I never closed my eyes. I could feel its warm touch between my breasts. Cassandra of the Children of Gaia, Galliard of the Morning Wolf Mother pack, welcome to our sept, she said solemnly. And then she howled. Howls rose towards the sky. They sang about ancient laws of war, status, and secrecy. I remember only a few. Combat the worm wherever it dwells and whenever it breeds. Submit to those of higher station. Respect those beneath you. The veil should not be lifted. And I joined on the song. And I have to make my own legend. I'm a Cleat now. I threw my head back and I howled with my sept. I was a cub no more. I was ready to tell my own story, to earn my own place in the pack, to all my own songs. The storm. It was one of those blistering summer days when the asphalt melts, the grass withers, and the air smothers those brave enough to step outside. Despite the heat, it felt like the whole village was at the funeral, and I was there as well, with a balanced rage. Surrounded by the grieving crowd, looking at the rosaries they clutched in their fists, it was surreal. For a brief chilling moment, I thought I saw Bartek's face among the crowd, but no, I buried him in the barrels myself, and nobody there even knew that he was dead. It was someone else's funeral. Bartek was not the reason we gathered in the churchyard. The body of a hunter has been found in the forest. Circumstances of their death were uncleared. There have been more deaths over the last days, but they slipped on the radar. We've been careful in covering our tracks. Or nobody had connected the dots yet. Galliard, I listened to the funeral hymns and I thought that for my every battle-inspiring song, there was an old lady singing Eternal Rest in a trembling voice. I could feel the tension seething around me. This death, this funeral had pushed the community, already wary and frightened by the recent disappearance in the forest, to the edge. The world was watching. Press is unfriendly. The press has swarmed to the funeral like flies. I could hear them squawking about eco-terrorism and aggressive vegan activists. The police has cordoned off the funeral and were aggressively searching and detaining any activists they noticed. It has become political. Suddenly, Pusha Białowiska has become politically charged to the hardest place to be in Poland. It wasn't only local politicians and activists from both sides who caught wind of the commotion. The Minister of the Environment. Alright, am I going to put an Olga there? Am I going to piss off Cornell? I don't think... I'm not part of his pack anymore. I'm going to follow Olga from now on. I'm done licking Cornell's ass. We're going to go buck wild, like the Black Fury. Coffin went down and the crowd stirred. Everyone stared, lining up to throw a handful of dust on the coffin to put flowers at the grave. Found myself face to face with Anya. Anya is neutral. I got swept by the crowd and found myself face to face with Anya. Everyone keeps pretending that he's just missing, but I know that Bartek is dead. She looked me in the eyes. He was such a cute guy, you know. I froze. I think you know what really happened, she said, and I wish you would tell me. I tried to play it down. I said nothing. I said my condolences. My condolences! Sympathetic again. I'm really sorry for your loss, I said from the bottom of my heart. I wish things could be different. Anya shook her head. One more thing. I know you think you're helping, but have you ever asked anyone what they need? I looked over the shoulder at the crowd. It was clear that many people there felt that we were not helping. On the contrary, the minister knew how to use that sentiment. I listened in disbelief. I watched in disbelief as the priest handed him the mic. After 30 seconds, I understood very clearly whose side he was on. He spoke furiously about how wood was important for the local economy and how evil forces from abroad were leading innocent Polish youth into temptation. Judging by the applause, it was exactly what the crowd wanted to hear. He was trying to escalate. Rage up. I realized the conflict was only going to escalate. He was determined to push on with the logging. What he didn't know was the local loggers weren't being paid anymore. We planned to use their anger against the government. We were ready to strike. We were ready to defend ourselves. We were ready to defend ourselves, I guess. So yeah, it was high noon, the sun was at its most merciless, and the world was almost white with heat. The air smells of herbs, barks, and tree saps. Insect buzz lazily in the high grass, stunned with the summer sun. We were ready for war! Rage up! We lounged in the shadows of the trees, resting after a busy night. We were ready for war. I warmed up. I watched the clearing. I rested. I watched the clearing. I watched the clearing with cold detachment, running through the possible scenarios in my head. There were so many of us. People kept coming to the camp, asking questions, looking for ways to help. Students, activists, even Greenpeace with banners reading "Stop logging when respect you law." There was equally big crowd against us, local citizens, hunters and loggers with banners reading "Foresters, save trees from woodworm and forestry equals job." There was a priest with a megaphone and his parishioners. "Fill the earth and subdue it," their sign declared. Fill the earth and subdue it? Must be a passage from the Bible that I'm not familiar with. Context! I spotted a group of bald, muscular young men dressed in black, the white pride and great Poland variety. Drawn by the smell of blood, the Pusha was watching us. White pride? They must be right-wing. They must be like, you know, not saying they're KKK, but probably skinheads. You know? White pride. The Pusha is loyal. The Pusha was watching us. Every time a gust of wind was bringing the wet smell of his forest to my nostril, I felt a strong presence. I felt a strong, steadfast presence. She knew that we were doing everything in our power to save her. I felt the forest presence. I could feel the immense presence of the forest, whose life was a myriad of smaller lives interconnected into one superorganism. And then I looked at the human and their machines and saw them as a virus, mindlessly destroying anything in its wake. I look at the harvesters. I look at the shiny new harvesters lurking across the clearing. They were only manned by a skeleton crew now that the local funding has been cut. The pressure was almost palpable and tempers were flaring. The cops were gathering. I look at my pack. Everyone knows what to do, Olga asked, looking at my pack. "I'll keep the security guard occupied," said Lisa. "And I'll guard the Pusha's perimeter," growled Danielle. I glanced at the Weasel. The Weasel were in their position among the protesters, agreed. That left the cops to me. High rage, we should just kill them all! Olga friendly. "We are thinking too small," I growled. "We are unstoppable. Why not just kill them all?" "Alas, that's not the plan," Olga reminded me with a bitter expression. "Keep your eyes on the cops and stay put." She likes me, but she wants to say, alas. If only that was the plan. Sadly, it's not. Keep your eyes on the cops and stay put. The cops were gathering. They're already hostile, so cops were gathering in increasing numbers, and I noticed some SWAT teams joining them. Even the local hunting clubs was there brandishing their rifles. Something was up. It was apparent that they were waiting for something. Then it reached boiling point. It reached boiling point when the minister arrived for a photo op. I had a bad feeling about it. We attracted some attention, or we could use that. I took it as a good sign. We could use his presence to our advantage in more ways than one. I calmed down slightly, -1 rage. Pressed his unfriendly journalists swarmed around him, praising his balanced forestry policy as they steer clear of the ugly harvesters. In hindsight, they could argue that what happened next is such a set of chain of events in motion that life-changing consequence for many. But it all started earlier, but change didn't happen just like that. At that moment, I didn't know that. High rage. At that moment, I was too angry to realize the consequences. Blood roared in my ears, my mouth was dry, my palms were sweaty. Mom spaghetti. The members of my sept has already moved into position, and I had my part to play. The minister was bad news. I wanted to wipe the smile off his face. It was our chance to start negotiation. High rage. I wanted to wipe the smile off his face. Glory! Glory at 3. Just look at him, I spat. I want to wipe the smile off his face. Olga raised her eyebrow. If you think there's any chance of getting to him, she smirks, now's the fucking time. She grabbed me by the elbow and literally dragged me across the clearing to where the minister and his people were standing. I've got this, I follow her. I thought about what to say. I'm gonna say I follow her. I follow her and we pushed through the crowd. We were close enough, Olga waved her hand. Minister! Minister! She yelled. Do you have a moment to talk about what's really going on in the forest? I caught his gaze. He looked at us coldly like we were vermin. Her eyes were distinctly dark and lifeless. Like a shark, I thought suddenly. No, he said, smiling. We don't talk to terrorists. High rage. He smelled of the worm, and I'd gladly have bitten his face off, but he had bigger fish to fry. I wrapped my arm around Olga's chest and pulled her back before she could jump at him. Save your strength, I barked. We'll find another way. We went back to regroup. No, I have one last card up my sleeve. Minister, do you know that all your local contractors deflected? I look at the officials in the eyes. It doesn't matter, he looked at me like I was a child. We could use foresters, we could use the Territorial Defense Force, but we don't have to. People have to eat. They'll come work for us. They have no other choices. But he looks shaken. Stop the logging. But he didn't see that coming, and for a moment looked shaken. Then he composed himself and looked at me with disgust. I snapped and attacked him. I went back to my friends, or I kept talking. Fuck it. Rage high! I snapped and attacked him. Glory 4. You're a bad man, I decided, bearing on my fangs. I think I'll have to stop you, but of course that was not so easy. His bodyguards reacted instantly, closing ranks around the minister. The police and the loggers were already running my way. Final battle. Uh-oh. I don't like this image. When the real fight begins, the adrenaline kicked in and the world split into freeze flames. I changed. Into what? Krynos, Hispo, or Lupus? Maybe Glabro? No, fuck it. Krynos. If I turn into Krynos, everybody's gonna be delirium. Nobody's gonna remember what happened here. Krynos. Krynos down. Da-da-da. Krynos down. The war form. I spasms on my bones grow and reset. Claws break out from my fingers and fangs sprout my mouth. I taste blood. I roar in pain and muscle move under my skin. I grow. I'm an 8-foot tall killing machine. I charge at the loggers. I see a young man in work overalls staring at me with a terrified expression, an axe raised in his hands. There is... Yeah, I won't push him away. That's gonna spend my last of my willpower. I tear his head off! I reach for his head and tear it off. The cops. Next, the cops. Cops are running our way, shouting orders, baton raised, faces red with anger. I kill them! I lose another rage. I smash into them and rip them apart one by one. Their batons as their batons bounce off my skin. And then the SWAT team! The SWAT team appears full of riot gear, their faces grim with their visors, their gun ready to pepper us with rubber bullets. I heal, I attack the enemy, I make them stop, or I howl for help. I attack the enemy for 1 rage and 1 health. Glory 5! I hurl myself at the enemy, they fight back, they hurt me, but I hurt them more. I look around. I look around the battlefield, it's not good, the police are pushing forward and the protesters are retreating. I must turn the tide. I chase the retreating minister, I lead the charge at the harvester. I go back to save my friends. I chase the retreating minister! All hopes of a photo op is lost and the Minister of Environment makes a break for his car. Low rage, he reeks of fear and greed, and I realize he's also convinced himself that he's saving the Pusha, that he's serving his country, that all the checks from lobbyists are just a blessing for all his hard work. Time to act. Another rage. Galliard, I'm fed up with overthinking it. I'm Gaia's voice, and it's time to inspire some epics. So I lunge at him. Lunge to maim him, lunge to kill him, losing 1 willpower. Just lunge. Just lunge. Low rage lunge. I start running. The bodyguards raise their gun. The bullets hurt. Ouch! Bullets puncture my body and it hurts, but don't stop until I reach him. He looks at me drooling and crying for help. I deliver the message. Into Glabro. I grab him and he feels his bone break. I was Glabro, wolfish, strong, scary. I look him straight in the eyes and growl, "Leave the Pusha alone!" Before he fainted, I smelled his piss. 0 health. Suddenly I realize that I'm still bleeding and my wounds aren't healing anymore. There's pain and then darkness. Epilogue. Pain. Am I dying? I lay there on the ground, my face buried in the grass. Blood was gushing from my wounds, and the more I tried to use my hands to stop the bleeding, the more it seems to flow. I coughed blood. I coughed bubbles of blood and air coming from my mouth. What this is? Was this it? Was this how it was going to end? On the grass, in an ancient forest, in a place I've never seen, among people I didn't really know? My thoughts were slow. I remembered. We've come to a conclusion. A fragile armistice that would stop the logging and save the forest. The forest was saved! I gained willpower. The logging stopped. The forest was safe for now. There was hope. There was always hope. What happened to the others? I briefly wondered what happened to the others. Then I closed my eyes. The last breath. Your story is almost over. It's a good time to take a last look at your character sheet. Oh no. No. The grass will heal all wounds. It will cover everything. I thought. 5 glory, 3 honors, 0 wisdom. I lose a wisdom and I didn't notice. Come on, move. Mind and body. I managed to stop the logging. I'm impaired in health. Anya sympathetic. Bartek is dead. Olga is friendly. The forest. Okay. No matter how high we pile the bodies, we let her work, no one will remember the carnage. It will grow on my bones, and my body will become a mound in the forest. The forest takes all. I understood the forest. There is a bird nest full of eggs. The nest is sitting snugly in the eye socket of skull, padded with the fluff from a werewolf's belly hair. The bird looks around and then catches a worm. The forest whispers to the bird, whispers to the eggs, tells the story of the cycle of death that brings rebirth. The forest is satisfied. It covers all. I heard a voice. Come, child. I heard a voice and felt a warm, wet touch on my cheek. Come. Was it worth it? I rolled on my back and opened my eyes for the last time. The night sky above me was filled with a gigantic wolf made of stars. She had the moon between her eyes. A tear rolled down my cheek. She licked my face again. Come, she said. And I went. Martyr! I died a martyr! You died fighting for the Pusha. The end. Okay, so that was one of the endings. Interesting. I went full blood, but for some reason the bodyguards were packing silver. Like they were shooting at me, but I thought I was gonna lose one health. No, you lose all your health. Okay. And we have no idea what happens to the others. Cubs, gather around the fire and listen to the story of Maya Borodich, known among the Garu as Cassandra of the Children of Gaia, Galliard of the Morning Wolf Mother Pack. She sang songs of glory. Maya died fighting for the Pusha. Remember her in your song because her death was not in vain. The Pusha was safe, at least for a while. The first protest against the logging of Białowieża took place in 2016. Okay. Alright, so this is it. 3 hours and 15. I'll take a break to eat something, and then we're going to continue with Hermitage with the final chapter. I believe it's going to be just as long. Oh.
Я терпел, я отрывал, я шагу подставлял, и вот я